Emergency stream. Emergency stream. Oh god, I gotta like find everything. Okay, we're gonna put this here. I need to change this to be for Total War. Cool. And then on Twitch, this needs to be Total War. And then I need the links. God fucking damn it. Put that there. And then grab this. Emergency! Emergency! Okay, grab that. Hit post. Go here. Fucking hate when stuff is like so sudden like this. Stream announcements at everyone. Fire that off. We don't even have a thumbnail for this shit. Okay. Okay. So now all I need are the chats, and we're good to get into this. All right. Everybody get your asses in here. Get your asses in here. Emergency meeting. The nation calls. Emergency meeting. Okay. Okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool. We're looking good. We're looking good. We're looking smooth. All I need now is this and this. And then we put this over here. And then I'm going to open this. And I'm going to go here. Hello, everyone. Welcome. 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 This is a very exciting moment. So, for those unaware, the Creative Assembly has just put out a 17-minute video detailing everything that is going to be coming in the near, well, pseudo-near future, but coming in, like, the next while for Total War Warhammer 3. I have not seen this. Like, all I was told was, hey, it's going live at 9. So we are going to jump into it. We're just gonna jump right in, and we're gonna see what's coming down the chute. I'm super duper duper excited. Also, thank you very much, Jack the Lab, for 25 months and Yara Olaf for 16. This is gonna be, I really hope this is gonna be fucking crazy. So without further ado, let's get in here. Boom.
Hi everyone, I'm Steve Coleman, Senior Community Manager.
What you got? What you got? What you got? What you got? What you got?
And I'm here today to talk to you, along with some of the development team, wonderful developers here.
Hey, there's Rich.
Beautiful faces. About.
So we're gonna get into this. We're gonna watch it the whole way through, and then after we watch it the whole way through, we'll go back through it and break down any particularly notable bits. Yeah,
what's next
let's
for
get into
Total War Warhammer 3, as well as a little look at the future vision for the franchise as well. Now we are endeavoring
this
to
is
be more
basically
open and transparent with you
the
guys with
Death to
everything that we're
Leaks
doing
video.
at the moment.
It's
this
literally
is a
the
new
Death to
format
Leaks
that we haven't tried before. We'd love
so
to know
instead
your
of the
comments and your thoughts
roadmap
about
just
how
being
it's
like
gone,
an
what you think we
image,
could do better,
this
so that we can
roadmap
make
is going to
these
be a
videos
video.
more fun and informative for you in the future.
Oh god, I'm so excited.
Without further ado, let's do some introductions. So, Rich, do you want to take us away? Who are you, and what do you do?
Rich is a giant.
I'm Rich Aldridge. I'm the game director for the Total War Warhammer series. I've been doing this for quite a while now, at least the last 10 years or so. It's crazy how time's flown by, but I love it. It's been fantastic. Listening to all your feedback over the course of time, developing the series, getting in your favourite factions. And
yeah, so for those unaware, this is the roadmap. Like, this is the Total War Warhammer
designer on the Warhammer DLC team. I've been here a meager 6 years compared to Richard's 10. I'd led the Champions of Chaos, Chaos Dwarves, and Thrones of Decay, and I'm looking forward to leading on this project again.
I don't want to be awake right
I'm
now.
from Sofia. I'm here now in Khorne to talk to you
Team
about
Sophia is here.
Warhammer and more specifically Khorne. I've been friend of the project for a while, Rich. We've been working together.
Oh, massively.
So
Hey, Red Punk, how you doing?
It's great to have you aboard. And yeah,
Living Legend,
lots
I don't
of
know. We just
collaboration
started.
Going forward,
We're only a minute and a half in.
we'll jump in with a big question. What is the vision and ethos for Total War Warhammer 3 moving forward?
Well, I think a lot of that has to come down to the fact that you've given us so much important and impactful feedback over, well, I mean, since I've started on the project way back, but more recently, you know,
It's crazy how old
your
this
thoughts on Thrones of
series is
Decay.
now.
So what we want to do is continue in that mold, continue in that shape, and keep providing you the opportunity, the variety, the options of how you want to purchase Warhammer content moving forward. And that might be like an individual pack, something smaller like you saw with, say, Malachi, or the complete bundle, as you saw also with.
Okay, so they're
Thrones of
keeping
Decay. the big
purchase
news,
system,
if you like, also
which is good.
You've shown us where the importance of the game is, and that is clear from the amount of campaigns you started and battles you fought, the rest of it. It's Immortal Empire. So our next DLCs will be focused on IE specifically.
Interesting.
For our new characters and our
Interesting. Okay, so remember, we're gonna swing back around to this.
Realm of Chaos, of course.
Okay, so Realm of Chaos is going on the back burner.
A lot of making sure all the factions are still.
Okay, so
great
Realm of
there.
Chaos is going on the back
But we
burner.
figured out that after a while, the story of Realm of Chaos, you know, after you've played it so many times, kind of becomes, you know, known to you.
Interesting.
So we're moving to Immortal
So
Empires.
Immortal
being
Empires is going to be the main
place to
focus
be
of the
for
remainder
every
of the
faction
series.
in the world.
Just gives you options. Both campaigns are still there to be enjoyed and played. But yeah,
I think that's a good
we
decision.
know
I
Immortal
do think
Empires
that's a good
is the
decision.
quintessential Warhammer experience.
Let's look at what we've recently revealed. The next DLC that's going to be coming and the focal points for those.
What are you
I
gonna
would
show?
really like it if you could tell me a little bit more about those.
Yes, tell me more.
Maybe we can start with Ogre Kingdoms.
Oh wait, are they gonna
Who wants to
reveal?
take that?
What are they
So,
gonna?
shall I
Are
start?
they,
Yeah, go
are they
on.
gonna
Go
reveal
on.
like
Sean's got
actual
the juicy
stuff?
gossip at the end. Right, so Ogre Kingdoms, that's a faction we wanted to touch and improve upon for quite some time. And we're here now, and we're really excited at what we're going to be able to do and bring and flesh them out. Because again, if I look back on my journey,
Yeah,
your
Ogres need
feedback
some
has
love.
always said to
Ogres
me
need
about
some
how
big
can you
boy
get
love.
these factions up to their fullest? How can you get all the beloved
I need a
characters
bigger
and units
Greases.
into it? And that's what we want to do with Ogre Kingdoms now. So I'm really pleased to announce today that our new legendary lord for the Ogre Kingdoms will be Goldfag Maneater. Yeah, he's a big hitter. He's
Okay,
one
so
that's
the
steeped
Reddit
in
leak was
lore.
true on that.
I mean, I know you touched
with
on
the
some of the
concept.
older
Oh my
editions there,
God,
Victor.
look at him!
This guy goes way back as well.
Okay,
and
remember,
there's
we'll
a
swing back
variety
around.
of, different
Oh, did
editions
y'all?
and
Oh,
even the
oh my God, they're showing
Dogs of
in-game
War armor,
footage.
But his
Look
shtick,
at
if you
that
don't know,
big
is
boy!
that he loves to roam the world.
He looks so
He
good!
loves to go to far-flung places, been given sort of contracts
Goldbag
and
looks
things
so
to go and do for
good!
people. And if you've got a bag of
Oh,
cash,
I'm
he's
so
more than happy
glad
to
he's
take
got his
it
big,
and
like,
bolster his
shark
forces.
tooth banner thing.
Try different cuisine.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, I cannot believe they're
Exactly.
already showing in-game
And,
development
you know, we don't
footage.
just stop with him. There'll be a plethora of new
That is shocking to me.
characters, and there'll be a legendary hero. But I do get to talk to you a little bit about some of the units.
Oh, they're gonna
that
show
we'll be adding
units?
as well for the ogres.
Holy
which
shit, they're
I think
showing a
are
lot.
Super cool. And in fact, one of them is very cool, very cold, very frosty, which is the
Yes!
Thundertusk. So that's going to have
Thundertusk!
a breath effect on it, which
Thundertusk!
you might come to expect. With its
Oh,
mounted up
ogres are
high,
getting a
shooting
big boy new
harpoons and the
monster.
like. So a big beastie in your army to really
Oh,
flesh
look
things
at that
out.
fucker!
There will be some other units as well, just like we've seen in Thrones of Decay. So you can expect that same
Okay, so
shape
they're
and
confirming
format
it's the
again.
same format as
And the other one,
Thrones.
which, if I'm allowed,
Yeah,
I'll
among
talk
the
about
brutal.
it now, is the Blood Vultures.
Oh, Blood
This is
Vultures!
maybe
Okay, so
not a unit
they're
you'd come to
expanding
expect,
Blood Vultures into a
it's
full
not
unit.
in the lore, but per
Very
se, but
interesting.
It's a feature for the Ogre Hunter.
That's gonna
They wanted
be-
to give the ogres that kind
Oh,
of
look, they look so
aerial
good, just like a
capability.
living- it's like a living
they'll be
carrion
joining
unit.
the fray as well.
Very cool.
That's gonna
Very
be
cool.
so good
Victor.
for ogres.
Tell us a bit about what's coming to Khorne.
Oh my God, they're just doing everything. Oh my
what's
God.
coming. You've been requesting it in the forums. We know it. We hear you. And
Okay.
this has always been the case for us to want to do
Skull Taker!
eventually, and
Interesting.
here we
They're
are.
doing Skull Taker as the DLC.
We know that there's only one legendary reward in the game right now for Khorne. Of course, the second one will bring much needed variety.
Skull Taker looks
So this is
good.
what will be my mission, to take this character and do him justice, portray him the way he is in the lore, which being a Khorne character again.
Sotek, shut
you know
up.
what to
No, go
expect.
watch it yourself
He-
if you don't want me to talk. You shut the fuck
No,
up.
let me tell you, he goes to collect skulls from worthy opponents. He collects all the skulls, but those
I am
that are really
so
interesting,
curious how
he
they're
adds
gonna make
them to
his
collection.
mechanics
He
work.
Adds them to his cloak, which also adds to his power. So when he defeats a really powerful
That's
enemy,
interesting. I was
the way
really
he does
expecting
in a
Arbol.
challenge, he goes
I was
and issues a
really
challenge.
expecting Arbol.
People come to answer that call, fall beneath him, and he adds their skill to his collection, and it lets him absorb the power of that character. So the stronger the enemy, supposedly the stronger the
Interesting.
power
Okay,
that he
so
absorbs.
it looks like they're going to be
So
leaning
we
into
can
his
see how
challenge
this could
system.
lead to some sort of more snowboarding gameplay, perhaps. You don't
So
need to
hopefully
be
he's going to be
experienced
all about like
games
killing
like
lords.
those two to imagine what the gameplay
Oh,
will be like.
I'm really excited for Skull
We're
Taker.
getting a few new units to Khorne as well.
They're gonna show anything?
Heroes Wars you could expect. For example, there will be a great monster that Sean
Oh,
can tell
Slaughter
you a
Brute?
bit more about.
Slaughter Brute?
Yeah, so we've got
Yeah,
the
Slaughter
Slaughter Brute on the way.
Brute!
So we've obviously seen the Mutilator Vortex.
Oh,
beast with
dude,
the
this
Shadow
is gonna be
Decay,
a
and we
big
thought,
boy
well,
monster.
We need to get the less magical. And
This is gonna
mystical
be a
and far more
big boy
bloody and
monster
gory
pack.
and, aggressive and all the classic Khorne traits and a big beastie. So we're bringing him along for the journey. So yeah, there's one to be excited about.
Yeah, it's nice to.
Okay, interesting.
add
So
this
they don't
content now to
have
Khorne.
in-game footage of
We've
that.
been through Zinch, we've been through Nurgle, and now at Khorne. Don't worry, Slaanesh fans. We'll get to you
Yes,
as well.
Slaanesh
It's
confirmed
our
is
great
coming.
plan.
Nice. Okay, so Slaanesh
And,
isn't
yeah,
cancelled.
Victor's
It just
gonna
got
have a lot of
delayed,
fun
I
painting
guess.
the town red with this.
Or Khorne got moved
You
ahead.
know we
Okay,
want
so
to do
Slaanesh
demo,
is going to get a
you know,
DLC.
We've read the books. Game Source
That's
has given us
great.
so much.
That's really
throughout the years,
exciting.
And if it's up to us, we'll do it.
Because I know a
all.
lot of people
It's
were
just a
worried
matter
about
of
that. So
in what
Slaanesh
order,
is
So you
confirmed.
could definitely help us prioritize that with your, talking with us.
Sean, are you going to tell us a little bit about
Gorbad.
Orcs
Come on,
and
please,
Goblins?
I can tell
Gorbad.
you a little bit.
Please,
about Orcs and Goblins.
Gorbad.
Just a smidge. Just
Gorbad
a
or
tiny,
Tenant Four
tiny
Eyes?
bit.
I
Cool.
will take
Okay.
Gorbad or Tenant Four Eyes.
That's enough.
Great, thanks guys. Yeah. So since Rich and Victor have told us that the legendary lords are for the other cultures, we're looking at Gorbad Ironclaw for Orcs and
Gorbad,
Goblins as our big
yes!
hitter. One of the most iconic and
Yes,
successful
the lad,
orcs to ever
the
tweet through
lad,
the Warhammer world.
the most
One
dangerous
big
orc
thing
war
that
boss
we
of all time.
Took from feedback on Thrones of Decay.
Biggest,
was
the
that
baddest
having
orc
the
of
units
all
in the roster
time.
feel attached to the lord that is representing them in the DLC.
What are they
is
gonna
super
do
important.
for
So
the-
like Elspeth representing all the Norns,
But
etc.
man, this is gonna be
so
weird.
with Gorbad, we thought he's the perfect character to let us bring in a variety of orcs and goblins because there's a sprinkle of orc and a sprinkle
Okay,
of
so
goblin and a little bit of
Oh,
squig
oh,
over
they're gonna
here.
do the colossal
and who
squig!
can unify them?
Oh, they're gonna
But
do the colossal
single
squig.
best commander that
So they're doing
actually
squigs,
used
goblins,
strategies
and orcs.
Use wolf riders, use squigs, use orcs and goblins all in conjunction. He's the perfect.
Oh, this is gonna be so good.
Orc, so that we can
Okay,
get the
so-
best and most exciting roster.
Oh,
and,
dude.
some colossal beasties.
Yeah,
maybe,
colossal
on the-
squig
on the,
confirmed, dude.
journey there with
They
him as
they
well.
literally just confirmed it. They're doing
Yeah,
the
we've got a lot
colossal
of fun with
squig.
them. We know-
They're
we know
doing the
that,
colossal squig. Fuck yeah!
You know, Greenskins and Orcs and
Oh,
Goblins
that's so
are in a
exciting.
really good state at the moment, thanks to your feedback. We've still got a few little tweaks and fixes we want to do to things like WARs where we can. But
They
as Sean
need.
said,
They really
there's
need to
just
make
so
it
much
where WA
variety
units can be
in-
recruited
in,
like by
this faction
landmark
that we really
buildings.
wanna
Like
try and get
every
as
WA
much
unit
of
should
this
be available
to
from
you as soon as
somewhere.
possible. So,
Oh, this is so fucking
you know,
exciting.
Maybe along the way there might be a few little sneaky surprises as well that we can drop for you.
Nice. I like surprises. A big
so-
question that comes up
That's
whenever
so.
we do
That was
DLC,
such an awkward like.
as I'm sure you're aware, is free content. Now, we have our process where we always release some
Are
free
they
LC
gonna talk
alongside
about who the free LC lord is?
What's the approach going to be with the next one?
If it's the
are we able
Lord.
to talk about what we've got coming.
Yeah, I think so. So we went back to the old formula on Thrones of Decay. It was quite clear that we needed to add legendary lords back in. Don't get me wrong. I think a lot of people still enjoy legendary heroes and they have their place. And we're still
You wanna do
continue with
both.
those, but
You wanna do both.
legendary lords provide you that new experience. You know, you get to have a fresh take on things. And Epidemius, I think, was one that we all enjoyed.
Epidemius was
taking,
great. I think he needs a
and
new
just
start
little
position,
twist
but
on-
other than
on
that, he's
what
really
he
good.
could offer. So
I think his start
the
position's
focus
a little
again with this content, and as we touched on earlier, with the content going forward is Immortal Empire, so you can expect to see the character appear there. And one to get Victor very excited about is gets yet another Khorne character.
Okay, so it's probably our
fault. So we're doubling down on Khorne on this one.
So Khorne is getting another legendary lord.
Khorne,
so that's going to put Khorne to 3.
Have its moment in the spotlight. And again, as I mentioned earlier, don't worry if you've got other factions that you want to see some attention to. They are going to get their time in the sun.
Okay, future
cool.
DLCs.
I look forward to seeing
confirmed.
the guesses and speculation across
please.
the community soon.
Please.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, this is so exciting.
Awesome.
This is great.
So
I'm really
we've
glad they're doing this.
spoken a lot about this.
I'm really glad they're
content,
doing
what
this.
we're working on now, this newly announced DLC. Is there anything you can tell us about the plan moving forward?
I wonder
for
if they're going to
future
give a
DLCs
release date,
after this one's
like
arrived?
ballpark.
Yeah, so the feedback that we've had from everybody has been super useful in kind of getting us on the right path, and I think giving you the content that you want to see and experience in the game. So very much like what we've just announced
so excited
here
for
with
this
latest
DLC.
and then what we saw prior with Thrones of Decay and even Shadows of Change. We want to get, first and foremost, all those Chaos God factions out to you. So you can expect to see Slaanesh.
Okay,
in
so
the future,
Slaanesh is
but also the shape and
probably
mold
going to be
as
the
well
next
to
DLC.
Continue in this same
And it's going to
vein.
be the
So
same format.
Offering the 3 different factions.
Hell
3 different
yeah! Okay,
experiences,
awesome. So Slaanesh is going to get his
boosting
big
out,
DLC.
the units and heroes. And
Hell
things
yes.
Offer in that regard.
Hell
So,
yes.
Yeah. That variety that you've all
Okay,
given us
so
so
we're
much positive
getting the
feedback, and we wanna-
Slaanesh
we wanna
DLC
keep
that we all
harnessing
were
and
hoping
creating
for.
and moving forward with.
So it's probably going to be
And
Slaanesh,
then
Hiles,
beyond that,
and
well,
somebody.
you know, the Warhammer world's our oyster, so to speak.
Fishman?
There's lots and lots of
Fishman?
content
He said
still
oyster
out there. There's
fishman?
factions that we haven't touched upon in quite some time, and there's kind of a reason for that. So, yeah, Vampire Counts.
Vampire
Don't
Counts?
don't worry, you'll be good.
Please,
Norska fans
Bloodlines.
again, you know, we wanna
Norska?
come back there
Okay, so
and
Norska
address
and
the
Vampire
monster
Counts are going to
hunts,
get DLCs?
Just to name a couple.
Fuck yeah.
I mean, my favourite is still the Lizardmen. If we can do something about the geomantic web,
Please, God.
fingers crossed.
Please, God, the
we'll
geomantic
see.
web. Please, the
but,
geomantic
yeah,
web.
Legacy content is super important. So if we haven't done anything in a while, just know it's in our plans. We've got a long, you know,
Wow,
journey
okay, so
ahead of us.
they're
Lots of exciting
basically
content to add to the
just
game.
dropping
we can
Vampire
listen, we'd
Counts,
love to make it.
Norska,
Oh,
Slaanesh,
absolutely.
Lizardmen,
Hopefully one
maybe?
day we'll see, you know, my beloved halflings. But
Halflings?
let's
Halflings?
see, no promises.
Yeah, I know you'd make everything if you could.
Halflings?
If I could, yeah.
No
Forever.
chaos guilt left behind.
Yep, there you go. And you touched on it here as well, and we mentioned it in the development update that we did before. But looking back at like the legacy
Bro, they're
content and
just
the game as
dumping
it currently is as well,
on us in like the best
I know
way.
there's a want to kind of freshen up what's already there. I don't know, Sean, do you want to tell us a little bit more about what the kind of expectations can be there?
Yeah, I can work on that for you. So yeah, so far we've only really done bug fixing in the interim patches between our 0.0s. So going up to 6.0, we're planning to bring in some smaller additions as well. So things that you would normally see in a patch, including things such as like the reworks that you might expect to come with
okay.
with a
So
big
doing
0.0 drop,
reworks
such
outside
as
of
like the cults,
0.0s.
So we're going to take a look at them.
Oh,
and
cult
then
rework.
Even beyond
Hell
reworking,
yeah.
we might try and add some new content to create some new, fresh experiences that, again, you would usually be waiting for us to drop a DLC.
What?
But
They're
we
gonna-
want to try
they're
and
gonna
give
do new
all of
content?
the races a little bit of love if we can. And
Between
we've obviously said
DLCs?
it's ogres,
Bro, does this
Khorne,
mean we
and
could
orcs
get
and
Egrim
goblins
von
for this one.
Horseman between
But,
DLCs?
we know everyone's got their favourite, and we want to try and touch it across the game where we can.
So you're saying we're not just adding to the new races that are coming with the new DLC.
Well,
but
this could
also
be
to
fucking
previous ones
huge,
scattered here and
dude.
there?
Exactly. And I think the big
This
thing
could be
is
fucking
feedback.
huge.
So if you say you're missing something and you'd love to see something, we will try to bring it in where we can.
Okay,
and make
so
sure
so what they're
every
saying
single
here,
experience in the game
what
is
they're
at that
saying is
same
I need to
level
start
of quality
bombarding
that
them with
we've,
videos
we strive to hit.
about what we need added to the game.
Yeah, we
so
enjoy it. We
clearly
we
that
enjoy
needs to
creating the
happen.
new as much as reworking some of the old.
I
We've
need
been
to
doing
start.
this for quite some
I need to
time
start my
now.
harassment arc.
And you know, to be in this position where we can go back and reimagine things, improve things, is, you know, all thanks to you in supporting the game. So yeah, please continue to send in your ideas. Maybe we can make it, maybe we can't, but there's no harm in just suggesting it to us.
I like.
I know
Man,
that's
they're
gonna
gonna
be music
regret
to a lot
saying
of
that.
our
I feel
players'
like
ears as well, knowing that stuff's coming down the line. So
Win-win.
this is
I will
awesome.
expect to see a lot of
This is
speculation.
awesome.
A lot
Please.
a lot of suggestions, A lot of
Oh, I
demands.
like that they got the
Is there
3
anything
army
already that
books
we,
on the
we can
table.
say about when this DLC is likely to be
Oh, they're gonna
arriving?
give a release
The team
window.
is hard at work. We're having fun working on it. I hope you will have fun as well when it comes out. When?
Yeah, well, we got
So
plenty more to
Sophia
do,
is
plenty
working
more
on Total
spells to
War
be
Warhammer
rigged,
now.
Lots of meat to be taken, and some big wars to be generated. So we're looking at
Wargs?
the back end of the year.
Back
Yeah,
end of the
these
year.
projects
Okay.
are quite big. I mean, Thrones of Decay style DLCs, they take a long time to make
Okay,
sure we hit
so-
that right
so
quality
we're
level,
probably
which
looking
is
at,
why
like,
we're so intent on making sure the patches hit
November,
and keep the game alive.
October-ish?
We don't want to go a long period where it can feel stagnant, and that's why we're looking to do these reworks and these additional content
I
in the
mean,
interim.
for the size
Thank
of the
you for joining us
DLC,
for our
that
Total
I think
War
that's
Warhammer 3
perfectly
development
reasonable.
update today.
But
in
they're
terms
also
of our
saying,
next
like-
communications, we're going to be looking at coming back to you hopefully around late summer with an update on what we're working on.
Late summer for
In the
another one of
meantime,
these?
Keep coming to us with your feedback, letting us know.
Bro, this was
what
this
your
was
thoughts
fucking
on, especially
fantastic.
Things like this format. This is new for us. This is a new thing that we've done.
This is
We'd
fucking
love to know what you
fantastic.
thought about it. We really want to make these videos as fun and informative for you as we can, and your feedback helps us to do that. From all of us here at CA and the Total War team, thank you and bye.
Enjoy.
This was so much fun to watch. I would love to see another one of these in the late summer to maybe show off some more in-game or more in progress animations, and perhaps even reveal another few units or characters. Very exciting video. So much more informative and enjoyable than just a PNG roadmap. Thank you guys for making such a fantastic sit-down video for us, and I am losing my mind with excitement over the amount of content lurking on the horizon. Can't wait to get my hands on this newest DLC. Also, please, for the love of God, give us a vampiric Bloodlines DLC featuring all 4 of the let's do it this way. Give us a Champions of Chaos style Vampiric Bloodlines DLC featuring all 4 non-Von Karstein bloodlines. I beg of thee. Boop. Holy shit. Okay, so first, Goldbag looks amazing. Dude, there were so many people that were making me laugh that were like, oh, they're gonna have to change his name. Like, oh yeah, please go like mass like that comment, by the way. But people being like, oh, they can't call him Goldbag. They're gonna have to look, man, he's got a hairy chest, he's got scars, he's got big old nipples, he's got the tattoos. God, he looks so cool. Dude, Goldbag looks so good. Oh my god, he's gonna look so unique. Reuse gun from Maneaters. I would love if he had a shooting attack. I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to be pure melee. But it would be so nice if he actually pulled out his pistols and shot them. So Goldbag looks absolutely incredible. The Thunder Tusk looks amazing. Oh, I'm so excited for the Thunder Tusk. Because if we're getting the Thunder Tusk, we're getting Yetis. Salter, thank you very much for the 37 months. The pestering arc will be your finest hour. Yes, indeed it will. Biofoot, since fishmen are now confirmed, we need to find new pastures, my lord. May I suggest bees with teeth? Thank you, Biofoot, for the super chat. Yeti, thank you for the 22 months. Calspert, thank you for the 21 months. And Halagum, thank you for the 42. Okay, so chat. let me turn my attention to y'all. Chat, what do y'all think? What do y'all thinking? Oh, the Blood Vultures look really fun. Like they, I think they're essentially just the carrion models.
The pestering will be your final
These guys are going to be insane for the Ogre Kingdoms. Ogre Kingdoms getting a dedicated flying unit, that is insanely good for them. Like, ogres are gonna... Blood Vultures may not seem like a big deal, but from a roster expansion perspective, this is fucking huge for Ogre Kingdoms.
Yeti 13 shield.
Like,
X100.
beyond
Did
huge.
someone say Yetis?
Yeah, so I'm thinking... So, okay. So, knowing what we know, I can actually give what I think are going to be really accurate predictions. I'm just going to, like, let this kind of just run the background. Of that. Okay, so we're looking at Goltag Maneater. Looking at ogres, and I'll make separate videos for these as well. But we're probably looking at Goltag Maneater. Well, no, we know we're looking... Oh my god, I can't believe they're revealing the legendary lords this early. So, okay. Actually, I have a question for you, chat. I have two questions for you. So, and I'm actually, like, reading the chat. So, like, I'm actually asking this to you. Can I link to the vid? Yes, I can. Here, I will slam it in the chats. Also, hold on. I need to check if Skeleton's awake yet. I don't think he is. When do you please make oh my god, dude, the Thunder Tusk looks so fucking fun. So, okay, so what I need to know from y'all, is... Also, please go mass like my comment so CA sees it. Yeah, oh my god, the Colossal Squig. Thank you so much, CEO, for the 17 months. So, what I would like to know from y'all is, do y'all... Oh, why is it not... Hold on. Oh, I went to the wrong thing. That's why. Because I'm dumb. So, what I need to know from y'all is this. Do you like knowing who the legendary lords are and a handful of the units? Like, are you excited and like, oh my god, I'm really happy to know some bits and pieces about the DLC? Like, we're talking, I mean, we're like 4 or 5 months in advance? Or do you think they should have waited? Yeah, we can make polls here. We can do polls. If there's a Twitch mod, I don't know if there's Twitch mod. Wait, what's the... I can do a Q&A? Huh. Oh, that's different. Okay. So, do you prefer knowing bits over months, or should CA have waited closer to release? I like the slow trickle, the slow feed. We'll say that. Slow feed or wait. They should have waited. They should have waited. Okay, the poll is live on YouTube, if y'all would vote on that. So, because the thing is, Darkstar Nova, thank you very much for the 4 months, I really appreciate it. One guy you know, thank you so much for the 21 months. Yeah, the thing is, they actually, if you really think about it, they didn't reveal a lot, at the end of the day. Because they've revealed 2 units, right? They revealed 2 Ogre units, and they basically revealed a Greenskin unit. They didn't show it, but they essentially revealed it. But they didn't... And then the 3 Legendary Lords. We still don't know who the Free LC Lord is. We still don't know who the 3 Legendary Heroes are. We don't know who the generic Lords are. We don't know who the generic Heroes are. And of the my brain. 15 units that'll be in the DLC. We have 3 of them confirmed. Well, yeah, so we know the free LC is Khorne, but we don't know who it is of Khorne. Nerf 7, no, they confirm in the video that there will be a free LC Khorne character.
The bees are coming to bite you.
Why are we... No biting bees. No. We already have wasp. I refuse your offer of biting bees. No, thank you. Oh, yeah, the Slaughter Brute. Yeah, you're right. They did show off the Slaughter Brute. So, okay, we know 4 units. Yeah, I hope it's Arball. I do hope it's Arball. So I'm going to let those polls run for a minute.
I'm so excited for Golfag Maneater. I've been wanting a new legendary lord for the ogres for a long time.
Oh, yeah, the Bioflood, thank you for the 36, and Captain Piker, thank you for the 19. Golfag, or the ogres needed a DLC so badly. So badly. All right, so let's talk about what we know, and what I think we can very accurately extrapolate from there. Halflings confirmed. That's true. They did bring up halflings. Hammer, thanks for the bits. Check the sub comments. Oh, I will in a little bit. Armand, hey, thank you very much, or Armand, sorry. Thank you very much for the super chat. Oh, I don't think anyone's gonna be able to miss this. The subreddit is gonna be exploding, and this is gonna spread like wildfire.
What do you think the narrative is going to be to get them to fight each other?
Okay, so
aside from enjoying it.
Okay, that's worth bringing up. So Bishop of Cheddar brings up a good question. Okay, let's do it this way. Let's talk about what we know, and then let's work our way outwards, okay? So, we know that we're going to have Golfag Maneater versus Skulltaker versus Gorbad Ironclaw. Now, to be honest, there's not really much of a theme that ties these 3 together. The closest thing that I can say that ties them together is that for their factions, they are probably the 3 most notable characters that could show up anywhere. Like Gorbad Ironclaw was last seen like, I don't know, 700 years ago. And he was never confirmed dead. Like, he got away. And everyone just kind of assumed that he died, but it's very possible that he's still out there kicking somewhere. Skulltaker literally just shows up all over the planet to issue challenges to people. And then Golfag Maneater is a mercenary, like he goes wherever he wants. So the only theme I can really see between the 3 of them is that they don't have centralized locations. They could really just show up anywhere in the world. So what I'm kind of expecting is I feel like the 3 of them are going to show up somewhere new. Like, I think they're going to be in like the Far East. So, like, instead of it being like, oh, they're going to be in the old world or mostly focused on the old world like we've seen with the past couple DLCs, I think it's probably going to be very, very weird places heavy. Like, weird places heavy. So, like, I think they're either going to be over in Cathay. There's a chance maybe we might see some map expansion with this. Like, this could actually be a good opportunity to maybe expand the map a little bit. In like the Chaos Waste, like expand the map northwards and maybe southwards a little bit, like around Inn and Koresh, to maybe put some more stuff out there. But so they could open up more of the map. That would be really good for this DLC, because these guys could literally go anywhere. That being said, it is worth noting that outside of the intro movie that they make for each of the faction or each of the DLCs, to be honest, these DLCs, the Throne of Decay DLCs, okay, so the vast majority of people that voted in all the polls are like, they like this new format. They're liking the drip feed. I agree. I do like the drip feed as well. I think the drip feed is really, really good. Honestly, I think this... You know what the biggest thing is right here? Sorry, I'm very scatterbrained right now. Oh my god, look at the Slaughter Brute, dude. It's only concept art, but it looks so good. I think the really big thing is that with everything that happened with the whole leak situation, where like there were all these rumors and there were all these myths and leaks about like what the future of the game was going to be, and it just caused like so much negativity and awfulness. That I think for them to just kind of come out and be like, all right, no, we're gonna absolutely put this to bed. We're absolutely gonna like just put this in a grave and shoot it in the back of the head. We want everyone to feel confident about the future of this game. I think is a really good decision. I think it's a really, really good decision. Because this is gonna allow people to be able to have fun speculating about the future, because they know there's a future and they're not just sitting there just dreading every passing day. I think this level of transparency is gonna be really healthy for the game.
THT1 guy cheered. X100. My theory has ever been that Ironclaw ended up in the realm of Khorne and is the fantasy answer to Demon Killer.
Greenskins don't really work like that in fantasy versus 40k. If you actually go watch my most recent Khorne stream with Andy, the Lorebeards we did on Sunday, we actually talk about that specific instance a fair bit. No, this is the roadmap. So the roadmap, instead of the roadmap just being like a PNG that has some random stuff, this is the roadmap, is that they made a video talking about what's coming, and they also showed off some concept art, and they also showed off some in-game footage models. So like this is a roadmap but better. Instead of the roadmap just being a picture that's like they did an interview with the devs instead. Just made a video out of it, which I think is just way better. I think it's so much better than the old roadmaps. Especially because like you get to see some faces and hear them talk about what they're working on, and so it makes it like a little bit more personable and stuff. But the fact that we're actually getting to like see some stuff is really nice. Interestingly, we still don't know what this DLC is called yet. They didn't name it yet. Armand, now that Fishmen are confirmed, we need to run the Race to Tracks naming convention. Insectmen for bees. Stop with the bees! Stop with the bees! Queek, thank you for the super chat. Maybe now Queek will be able to get an actual head taker mechanic with Skull Taker coming. Yeah, Skull Taker sounds like he's gonna have a very strong mechanic, revolving around like champion killing, which I think both Wolfric and Queek could really benefit from in different ways. Obviously, I don't think we wouldn't want them to have the exact same system, but I think there could be some really good similarities. Okay, so let me talk about just for a minute and just get my head in place, screwed on, about what we know now. So we know that we're getting a DLC of Greenskins versus Ogres versus Khorne, and it's going to be featuring Goldcrag Maneater, Skull Taker, and Gorbad Ironclaw. We know that for Goldcrag, of the 5 units he gets, 1 of them is confirmed to be the Thunder Tusk, 1 is confirmed to be the Blood Vultures. I would say with extreme confidence that Yetis are 100% a 3rd unit that they're getting. And then the last 2 units are a little nebulous. I really think that Gnoblar Manbiters would be really, really, really good. Some like elite Gnoblars. Plus, they really tie into the Maneater theme because they're essentially Maneater Gnoblars. So Manbiter Gnoblars, I think, would be really, really good. And then for the last slot, I mean, there's a lot of things they could do for the last slot. They could do another Gnoblar unit because there's a bunch of different Gnoblar units that are from a White Dwarf article that they could do. Like there's like Lucky Gits, which are a type of Gnoblar. They're the Pigback Riders, which are literally 2 Gnoblars doing like piggyback. So it's kind of like a they're it's really stupid looking, but could make for a fun unit. There are Blood Gnoblars, which are like really heavily associated with like butchers and slaughtermasters. And then but they could also do stuff like they could do like the Bone Grinder Giant, They could do the Bone Grinder Giant, which is like the giant of giants. Like it is the god tier giant. Or I mean, they could also do a new type. They could also do another. They could also do another man-eater unit variant. Though I don't really think I want that. Like I think instead of a man-eater variant, I would be much happier with just like Golgfag offers a lot of buffs and customization of the man-eaters that he already gets instead of another variant of man-eaters. So I would say that without a shadow of a doubt, the legendary hero is going to be Brag the Gutsman. Brag the Gutsman, I feel like it's not even going to be a question. Brag the Gutsman will almost assuredly be the legendary hero. This is good news. This is very good news. Today is the best day for Total War Warhammer's life that we could have gotten. This is a great day. So Brag the Gutsman, I think, will be our legendary hero. The real question is who will be the generic lord, because the generic hero is going to be the Bruiser. That's super easy. Like, not even a question. The Bruiser will be the hero. So then the Lord, I'm thinking it'll probably be like a Man-Eater cat. Wait, did Man-Eaters have a unit champion name? Let me see. Ogre Kingdoms. Come here. Come here, you bitch. Let's see. Yeah, Man-Eater Captain. Okay, so yeah, Man-Eater Captain I think will probably be the new Lord. So if you do a Man-Eater Captain generic Lord, and then, so you have Golgfag Man-Eater, then you get your Man-Eater Captain, then you get Brag the Gutsman as a legendary hero, Bruiser is a generic hero, then you get the Blood Vultures, Thunder Tusk, Yetis, Man-Biter Noblars, and then probably like another Noblar variant, maybe like Pigback Riders or any of those. I think that would be a really good list. That would be a really good expansion for the Ogre Kingdoms. Then for Khorne, so for Khorne, we know we're getting Skull Taker now, which Skull Taker is an interesting pick. I don't think there's a huge difference between picking Skull Taker or Arball. Like, they're both fine. Like, it's like, I don't really think there's a massive difference between picking between one or the other, because it seems like Arball is the free LC Legendary Lord. So I think we're looking at, I just love watching Golgfag walk. That makes me so happy. I think we're very much looking at Arball the Undefeated as the free LC Legendary Lord, because they've confirmed that the free LC Legendary Lord with this DLC will be Khorne. So I would be happy to bet money it's going to be Arball. And then Skull Taker for the DLC. So the generic Lord and Hero is going to be really interesting for Khorne. It's going to be super interesting for Khorne, because I've already done a video about this, but there's a lot of different ways they could go with it. They could go like the Blood Priest route. They could go the Beastman route. They could I really feel like those are the only two realistic options. I mean, they could do like champions, but I feel like that would be really boring and dumb. They could do like an engineer type character. That would be really interesting. But I feel like a priest would be so good. Like, I think if they did a priest, that would open up so much more gameplay options for Khorne, because you would actually have support characters besides the cultist, who's, mostly just for summoning. But getting like a nice priest character in there who's also able to use like the Chaos Warshrine of Khorne as a mount. That way they kind of operate like, they're essentially shaman or the wizard characters, but they don't use magic, they use prayers. Would be really, really nice. And then for units, so we know the Slaughter Brute's confirmed, which is awesome. That's not surprising, but it's awesome to see it. So we got the Slaughter Brute. I still feel pretty good that the Chariots of Khorne seem pretty likely. I think Chariots of Khorne are still definitely up there. Actually, while I'm talking about relevant stuff, I guess we could just have this like pinned up on screen. Oh my god, look at his concept art. Oh, look at his concept art. He looks so good. He looks so good. Look at that. Look at that cape. So I feel like the Juggernaut chariots, the Slaughter Brute, and then from there you start to get into some like weirder options. But like I said, you can go check out my Khorne video. Like I feel like the giant spined Chaos Beast would be really, really, really good. The giant spined Chaos Beast would be so nice because it's basically a really juiced up Chaos Warhound. That's like been made monster sized, and of the Chaos factions, Nurgle and Khorne are the only two factions that have marked Chaos Hounds, Chaos Warhounds. So Khorne would be the appropriate faction to do the giant spine Chaos Beast. And if you made it available to like undivided Khorne and Nurgle, that would be super appropriate. And then from there, you know, you start getting into weird speculation territory, but there's a lot of things they could do. They could do Flayerkin. They could do the Brass Sisters and make them kind of like a Valkyrie type unit. There's a bunch of different like cultist units they could do. I mean, they could try tapping into the end time stuff. I don't think Games Workshop is going to let them use any of the end time stuff. For those unaware, the end time stuff would be Scar Bloodwrath as a legendary lord or legendary hero, and then Wrathmongers and Skull Reapers. But those were an end times thing that were meant for Age of Sigmar. Like they're an Age of Sigmar unit, to put it very bluntly. People don't like when I say that, but they are. They were made for Age of Sigmar, first edition, because they were the featured like units for the AOS stuff. So I don't think Games Workshop is going to let them use it. That being said, I'm thinking the free LC Lord is Arbol, and the legendary hero is almost assuredly Scylla Anfringrim. Scylla Anfringrim would be super goated. That would make me really, really happy. And then for Greenskins, they actually didn't show anything off for the Greenskins. They just talked about it. But I will say this is really exciting right here, where they talk about that Gorbad's DLC is going to represent a mix of goblins, orcs, and squigs, which I think is so awesome. We do have it confirmed, like they made a little joke, but they literally confirmed that we're going to get the Colossal Squig. So Squig boys rejoice. Which is really, really exciting. So I'm thinking, who am I going to campaign first? Orc, Ogre, or Khorne? Oh, Ogres, probably. Almost assuredly Ogres. I would be all in on Team Ogre. So I'm really, really thinking, Big Red 40 Tech, thank you very much for the super chat. Bees, also Gorbad Ironclaw is gonna be awesome. Yeah, Gorbad is gonna be super kick-ass. I'm really glad they're doing Gorbad, because the orcs deserved at least one DLC, right? Like the orcs needed a DLC that gives you an orc character. All of the Greenskin DLCs have been goblins. We needed an orc. So this is gonna bring us in with Gorfang Rockgut, or it's not Gorfang, you can tell I was reading a comment. Gorbad Ironclaw. So Gorbad Ironclaw, the Lords and Heroes is going to be really, really interesting. I am really hoping the Lord is going to be the Savage Orc Great Shaman, because of all of the Lords that we have, the Savage Orcs do not have any representation, and we also do not have a generic Big Wa caster. It's still like one of the weirdest fucking things that unfortunately back in the day they gave us Wurzag but didn't put a Great Shaman to come along with him, which was really dumb. So like for now, I really, 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 really hope that they're doing the Savage Orc Great Shaman, because he would really fill a super important set of niches. So Savage Orc Great Shaman will hopefully be the generic lord. And then for the hero, because it's like a mix of orcs and goblins, man, there's a lot they could do with the hero slot. Like, part of me hopes that I think what I would say is that if they're not going to add in gigantic spiders with this DLC, so if there's not going to be gigantic spiders this DLC, which very well could not be, then I would prefer the generic hero to be a Savage Orc Big Boss. And the Savage Orc Big Boss is just like pure aggression, right? Like crazy melee attack, frenzy, anti-large. Like, he doesn't have any armor, but he's got physical resist, and he's just like, he's just like in people's face, tearing them apart. Would I think that would probably be the best option. Alternatively, though, actually, I could see the argument for a Night Goblin Big Boss, because that would give a squig themed hero, which could also be really nice. So we have, but regardless of those, the legendary hero is going to be really interesting, because they do have some interesting options. If they want to do an orc character, probably the best orc for a legendary hero would be Bogrut Facebeater, because Bogrut Facebeater, it like has a tabletop profile. He had rules and a mini and all that stuff from the Storm of Chaos, which Games Workshop or Creative Assembly is really fond of the Storm of Chaos rosters and like filling those out. So Bogrut Facebeater would be really nice, to where it's like, you know, he would probably get some bonus synergy with Grimgor, but you could conceivably have him with anybody. And then, but if you do a goblin for the legendary hero, then you could do Gatilla the Hunter, or you could do Snagla Grobspit. So I think it kind of just depends on like the theming of the DLC. Like if the whole point of Gorbad Ironclaw is that he's supposed to be like a balanced mix, like he's supposed to be like a mix of characters, or like a mix of orcs and goblins and stuff, then I think it would be good to like have a really interesting, diverse theme. So like going with like, you know, Gorbad Ironclaw is your legendary lord, then a Savage Orc Great Shaman for your generic lord, then like a Night Goblin Big Boss, or like Night Goblin's Squig Herder, some kind of like Night Goblin Squig type character for your generic hero. And then for your legendary hero, you do Snagla Grobspit or Gatilla the Hunter, either one, because they would represent a different thing, with Snagla being forest goblins and Gatilla being wolf goblins. So you could do either of them. And then for the units, because they're really leaning into the mix of units, what I think we're really going to see is the Colossal. They've already confirmed the Colossal Squig. We know for a fact we're getting the Colossal Squig. So Colossal Squig, I think if they're going to do squigs, they might as well just do them and get it over with. So if they were to do it that way, they could do the Colossal Squig, the Squig Gaba, Mangler Squigs, and then for the last two units, they could do the Savage Orc Big Stabba to give us an orc unit. And then for the final option, they could do, if it's a goblin unit, they could do like Forest Goblin Gigantic Spider Riders. Forest Goblin Gigantic Spider Riders would very uniquely give Greenskins like a monstrous cavalry unit, which would be very different than what we have. Plus they'd have like poison attacks and all this other stuff, so that would be really fun. And if you did that, then you could like do like Snagla Grobspit as the legendary hero to like theme in with that. That could work really well. Obviously, you know, I think the Forest Goblin fans would be a little disappointed that they aren't getting like a lord out of it, but you know, there's always the future. But alternatively, it'll be interesting to see how they mix things up. Greenskins have a fucking titanic roster. Orcs and Goblins, their roster is the biggest roster in Warhammer. Like, it is a gigantic roster. They kind of got away with not making them very big in Total War Warhammer because most factions in the game have multiple variants for all of their like units. And the Greenskins don't. Like the vast majority of Greenskin units do not have variants. You just get like the basic, just the unit, and that's it. Black Orc variants. And I think with Black Orcs, it would be more. I think it would be better to give them an ability, like an active ability to change stances, so they would pull out different weapons. So like you could put them in sword and shield mode, or you could keep them in great weapon mode. I think that would be the ideal way to deal with the Black Orcs, instead of bringing in another unit of Black Orcs that has then Choppa and shield, because that was a unique rule that Black Orcs had in tabletop. Black Orcs had a special rule in tabletop called Arm to Detif, and it's basically was that whenever they got in combat for the first time, whenever they got into a combat, they could choose like what weapons they were going to wield, and then they fought with those weapons for the rest of that fight. So they could do that, and I would be totally fine with that. Let's say Necromancer Cobalt just started off Valkia campaign to play with Karen yesterday. Has been super fun. What lore / faction do you think will benefit the most from the new DLC? Ogres. It's not even close. Ogres need this DLC more than anybody else. Like, nobody needs the DLC more badly than Ogres. I don't think Ogres are a bad faction, but I also don't think they're an exciting faction. Yeah, like Greenskins are in a really good place right now, and Khorne's fine. No, of the DLC factions, guys, read the prompt. Read the prompt, guys. Of the DLC factions, which of the three needs it the most? And the answer is Ogres. Please read the prompt, class. Muffin Basket. Sunbathing in Spain postponed. I must know about my Warhammer video games future. It's looking like a good future. It's looking like a good future. Where would I place these 3 legendary lords on the map? The big thing for me is that Gorbad Ironclaw should be in Cathay. Gorbad Ironclaw should 100% be in Grand Cathay. Because there are Greenskin factions over there, and it would be a really fun, interesting place, while also having him, like, vaguely in the vicinity of, like, very distantly, but vaguely in the vicinity of Grimgor. And it would also allow him to, you know, kind of have access to going to Lustria through the sea channels if you wanted to, the sea lanes. But I would really like to see Gorbad Ironclaw take over the Cathayan Greenskin factions, because Cathay has some space still. Skulltaker could go fucking anywhere. Like, you could literally put Skulltaker anywhere you want, and it works fine. Like, I don't really know what to suggest, because Skulltaker, the only thing Skulltaker is like kinda infamous for is that he has a notable hate boner for the Empire, but Scarbrand is kind of already in the old world down in the Badlands. And I would, if the Free LC Lord is indeed Arbal the Undefeated, I would prefer for Arbal to start in the Chaos Waste. Like, put Arbal around, like, Karak Doom, maybe? Or put him, you know, somewhere in the north. Because that's his whole gimmick, is that he's up there in the north, and he went up into the realm of chaos, and he comes back down every once in a while. So I think Arbal the Undefeated, I would want to put somewhere in the Chaos Waste, in the northern Chaos Waste. So with Skulltaker, you could put Skulltaker in Lustria, you could put Skulltaker in Cathay, you could put Skulltaker, I'd do one of those two. I would either put Skulltaker in Lustria or Cathay. Those would probably be the most interesting. Who would be the Khorne legendary hero? It's probably going to be Scylla Anfringrim. Scylla Anfringrim, he is the Chaos Spawn legendary lord, he's a Khorne Chaos Spawn. And hopefully he'll be available to the Warriors of Chaos, Khorne, and Norska. So it'll give Norska a really nice legendary hero as well. Yeah, Brag the Gutsman for ogres. Yeah, that seems very likely to me. Any idea on what the map extensions will be? I don't know if we're going to get map extensions, but if we do get map extensions, what I would recommend if I were talking to CA is the first thing I would recommend would be add in the Realms of Chaos to the Immortal Empires map. Like, find a place to put them. There are a lot of different ways they could do it, but I would say, hey, find a way to get the Realms of Chaos onto the map, because that would add a bunch of territory. You could put some settlements there that are like really, really wild. But like the Realms of Chaos are super fun. They allow for like Storm of Chaos shenanigans. And I think they should be in there. But outside of that, the biggest thing that I would do is I would expand the Eastern Steppes. So I would take the Chaos Waste above the Grand Cathay, and I would expand it quite a bit northwards. And I would make the Eastern Steppes into a set of provinces instead of just one province. Because then you could have like different factions roaming around there, and there's the only person up there is fucking like Village, and then Zatan is like kinda over there, but he's like a little further west. So if they like really expanded it up northwards, that would help a lot. Also, if they made the Warhammer Korea area, like that Korean peninsula, if they made that playable, that would help a lot. And it would make like things over there a little more interesting. If they want, they could also, you know, obviously they could expand down into like the Mountains of Heaven, between the border of End and Grand Cathay. I think they might want to save that for the Monkey King, but they could do that now if they wanted. And then Golgfag Mandier, Golgfag could go anywhere. That's like the funnest thing about him is he can literally go anywhere. So honestly, controversial opinion, maybe, I would want to put Golgfag Maneater where Scrag the Slaughterer is. I would want to take Scrag and move Scrag maybe over to like Cathay, so that he's much closer to the Great Maw. Like put him like kind of deep in Cathay, but like, you know, where he's closer to the Great Maw. And then put Golgfag where Scrag was. And I think that would be totally fine. Because Scrag being around like the Border Princes would make a lot of sense for him. Like that would make a lot of sense for him. They said in the Thrones of Decay Q&A that there will be a map extension with 6.0. Whoa, wait, where's this Q&A? Wait, somebody post a link to that. I haven't seen this. Because that's news to me. Can't stop looking at that nipple. It's glorious, isn't it? Don't you just want to, like, get a little tug? Sorry. It's on the CA Discord. Okay, hold on. Let me dig up the CA Discord. Did they make it its own channel at least? Or is it just like buried in here somewhere? Is it... Does anyone know like where it is on their Discord? Oh wait, here we go. Wait, is this it? Okay, there's the Pharaoh Q&A. Yeah, I will say, man, the fact that they went ahead and confirmed that the Slaanesh Thrones of Chaos DLC is happening, that's fucking huge. And then they also immediately turned around and said, oh yeah, by the way, we're also going to be doing Vampire Counts and Norska DLCs. Like, what the fuck? Oh, here we go. Landmarks in the update.
Yeah, landmarks are a very initiative-driven process.
Okay, this is pretty lengthy, so I will watch this on my own time later today. I will watch this later on my own time today and see if anything like super interesting comes up. Did they say anything on Dogs of War? The only thing they said about the Dogs of War is that Gogfang Maneater was originally introduced with the Dogs of War. That's all they said. Which is true. All right, and hey, since we're on this thing now, look, y'all, look, chat, you're here. Look, there you are, chat. Y'all are participating in the discussion now. Look at you. Norska needs a rework. Yes, they do. They also need DLCs, to be fair. I want a Munamim DLC so fucking bad. I want Munamim. If they give me a Fimir Matriarch Legendary Lord, I will become the biggest Norska stan. Like, I will suck Norska's toes for the rest of the year. Or that year, whatever year that is. Like, things will happen. Mistakes will be made. People will be pregnant. It'll be bad. Like, it'll just, like, bad decisions just everywhere. If they released an FLC Legendary Lord, wouldn't it be the 100th? Yes. Okay, so I actually wanted to briefly talk about that. So I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. I honestly deeply believe that the 100th Legendary Lord thing, I think the community hyped itself up a little too much. Because I don't think Creative Assembly is going to do anything about that. Like, actually, I'm going to rephrase that. I think there is a chance that I think CA will be like, hey, look, here's the 100th Legendary Lord. We hit 100. Cool. I don't think they're going to do like a big, oh, the 100th Legendary Lord is like a really important character who's like some crazy unique thing. I don't think that's what's going to happen. Because in order to do that, they would have to like do some really weird shit. I think there's a chance that they might celebrate the 100th Legendary Lord as an event, but if they do that, I don't think it's actually going to be the 100th character. I think it's going to be like the 101st or like the 102nd or whatever. But I am really strongly feeling they're not actually going to do anything to celebrate it. Like, I think they're just going to acknowledge it. Like, because right now it's pretty much guaranteed that the 100th Legendary Lord is going to be the Khorne Free LC Lord. And so, to make it very, very clear, I think everybody really misinterpreted the 100th Legendary Lord comment. Because if you go back and you read the article, like what, and this was years ago now, right? Like, this is a while ago. But if you go back and look at that article, the interview, literally all they said was, yeah, we're like excited that we're getting up to like 100 Legendary Lords, and we've already thought about who the 100th is going to be. They didn't say anything about it being a special event. They didn't say like it was going to be like some kind of big thing. They didn't say that it was going to be like some like big DLC or big free LC. Like, they literally were just like, yeah, no, it's just like it'll be cool. And so I think the Total War Warhammer community kind of just gaslit itself into believing that the 100th Legendary Lord is going to be like a party, or like some Thanquol or Nagash. I don't think it's going to be anything like that. Like, it's just going to be whoever it is. I don't think there's going to be anything like particularly special about it. Because that would just kind of fuck up their release schedule. Like, I think they will, like, when they reveal who the Khorne character is, they'll be like, and look, here's the 100th Legendary Lord, Arbal the Undefeated, or whoever the fuck it is. Like, woohoo, cool. And then we'll go, okay, great. But I don't think it's going to be like Nagash or Thanquol. I really don't. I think it'll just be whoever it happens to be, as opposed to someone. Because, I mean, just think about it. If you look at the roadmap, right? If you go look at the roadmap from a year ago, or a year and a half, 2 years ago, the DLC we would have been getting the 100th Legendary Lord with would have been the Slaanesh DLC, which is not what's happening. And that was also back when the original plan for Thrones of Decay was probably for it to have 3 Legendary Lords and a free LC Legendary Hero. They had to change their mind. They had to change what they were doing due to community feedback to say, no, you know what? We're going to do a bonus Legendary Lord, not a bonus Legendary Hero. So I think, and when they made the 100th Legendary Lord comment, that article is years old at this point. I don't think that article is relevant at all to CA's current plans. Like, even maybe at the time they were considering that, but I think with how things have changed and how things have developed, they're not going to do anything special for it. It's just going to be a thing. Because I believe we're currently at 96, if memory serves. With this DLC, I believe we'll get to 99, and then the free LC Lord that comes with this DLC will be 100. I think. I mean, I do think Arbal the Undefeated would be a cool character for number 100. I mean, he's a pretty big deal. The dude's literally undefeated, which is neat. Okay, what I miss? To put, oh, you know what? I just realized I could do pinned comments. Hey mods, could we do a pinned comment? Could someone like type up a pinned comment that's like Sotex reacting to the CA video that revealed a bunch of stuff about the new DLCs and the future of Total War or something along those lines, and then like post the link. That way if somebody comes in, they're like, what the hell's happening? They can like just see there's a pinned comment. About the next DLC and other and beyond for Total War Warhammer 3. And then if I post the link, and then I should be able to pin message. Hell yeah. There we go. So that's pinned on YouTube, and now I just need to do it on Twitch. Lorenzo Lupo for 100? What? No. Lorenzo Lupo, like, Lupo's cool, but like, is he like, no. That would require the Dogs of War to be released as a race, which would be really cool, but that's not going to be like a big, like, you can't, that would be a collection of characters, not just one character. A lot of nonsense goes into being a Total War and Warhammer fan. We deserve a treat for 100. No, you don't. I say that with love. We do not deserve a treat for these poor bastards slaving for us over in their little studios. I think that whatever they want to do that makes them comfortable is fine. If they want to do a 100th celebration, great. If they don't, great. Like, I don't care. I could not care less. Cheshire Grin, thank you for the super chat. I'm sorry, I just saw it. Do you think Slaanesh could get any knight type unit compared? Yeah. No, I don't think they could. I think they will 100% undeniably. Slaanesh is gonna get boob snake knights. Like, he's gonna get big titty snake knights. That's what he's gonna get. Not even a question. Like, yeah. I can tell you that for a fact. Which if you're like, what the hell are the boob snakes? Here, I could pull up a demonic steed of Slaanesh. Where is it? Oh, I forget. Here he is. Oh, I said demonic steed. I meant demonic mount. I think this one is... This might be a little blinding for y'all, but you'll live. I don't know if you can see the details that well on this. So this is what Slaanesh is gonna get. This is gonna be the big boy mount for Slaanesh. Is gonna be the boob knight. Sorry, the boob snake. They'll probably, you know, get rid of the nipples and like make it whatever, but this will be your elite knight unit. I could guarantee that. There we go. Especially because like this really iconic piece of artwork that has like all the big bad like lords chilling next to each other, where it's like like these are all demonic steeds essentially, or demonic mounts. But you know, it's like Slaanesh, you got the boob knight, and then Khorne, we've got the juggernaut. The rot beast knight was brought out for Nurgle, and then you got the discs for Tzeentch. So you're gonna get your titty snakes. Which just makes me laugh thinking about like a bunch of memes that I am suddenly recalling about people arguing about whether like reptilian creatures should have boobs, and like when they're playing like Elder Scrolls or other games like that. And in Warhammer they go, give those snakes some tits. Do it. That's funny. Tech 27, is Krimlo the next legendary lord for the Lizardmen? No, and he never will be, because Krimlo is in hell, burning for eternity. Bearded Freckle, a lot of nonsense. Oh yeah, I already answered that. KV1, seems Legend was right. The DLC looks great, but it's very clear they didn't plan to release it now. The only in-game thing they showed was the ogre. KV1, I could see the argument there. I don't know if I necessarily agree, because the gold, a number of the ogre things look like very far along. And if I recall correctly, Legends Leaks didn't say anything about Goldfag Maneater coming out anytime soon. And also it was just like Cathay stuff. And if the leaks were true, that would imply that Creative Assembly had a shitload of Cathay stuff done and has now gone, oh no, and then took all of it and shelved all of it for the foreseeable like year at least.
Yes. Snakes need boob when bees need teeth.
No. Stop molesting the bees with teeth, please. So I would say that does not seem likely to me. That being said, I don't think it was necessarily that like all of it was wrong. There may have been parts of it that were true. But honestly, the biggest thing is I don't think it matters. That's the important thing. I don't think it matters at all in the slightest. The important thing is it's not true. Like it's not what's happening. That's the way I should put it. It's not what's happening. So there's really no reason to talk about it. Like that's all there is to say on it. That if it was gonna happen, it no longer is, so there's really no point, there's really no point in talking about it. So yeah, I will say that to my knowledge, nothing that was in that was true, but I don't know. And frankly, I don't care. That's the biggest thing I can say, is I just don't care. Alexander, should a Norska or a Slaanesh DLC give us the Chimera for the Warriors of Chaos? Could be Khorne or Slaanesh or Norska. I don't think the Chimera is really appropriate for Norska as a faction, to be totally blunt with you. I think the Chimera is probably better for just the Warriors of Chaos and a monogod faction. But you could put the Chimera in Khorne or Slaanesh and it would be completely fine. I mean, you could put it in Norska. I just don't think it fits Norska very well. Leighton Steinbrook, thank you for the super chat. They might do a Brettonian, Breton Lord. What are Bretons? Brettonian Lord? For getting to 100. I don't think they're going to do anything special for 100. I don't think they're going to do anything special for 100. That being said, no, I hope not. Here's the thing with Brettonia, guys. Here's the thing with Brettonia. You can call me a madman. You could say I'm evil. You could say I'm a degenerate. But at the end of the day, here's the thing. Brettonia, fair Brettonia, deserves one paid DLC. They deserve at least one paid DLC that gives them a bunch of goodies. Like, they deserve it. Just one. They should not just be eternally Garbo FLC faction. Like, give me Truffle Hounds for like a War Dog unit. Give me Sons of Brettonia as like a super elite magical Kelpie riding guy unit. Give me Hemeralds as your like some elite skirmish archers. Give me oh my god, I can't remember what it's called. There's a lion monster that they have. It's like an aquatic lion. Like, take a lion and fuse it with a fish. It's how, according to a really, really kick-ass book, it's how Lewin Leoncoeur got his name. Like, the reason he's called Leoncoeur is because he killed one of them. But they're like guardians of the lady. And then give me naiads. That's what we need. Naiads. Naiads, a sea lion? Nah, I don't think it's called a sea lion, is it? That would be really boring if it is. Mythological lion-fish hybrid. What does Google say? A merlion. That's dumb. Sea lion. That's also dumb. I guess that's as good as it gets. Well, that's boring. Those aren't exciting at all. Yeah, if they did a sea lion or a, oh, it's called a Kjol. Seal? No. Wait, did I spell it wrong? Ceoul. Monster. I'll type in monster. Google says y'all are lying to me. Unless you're talking about just a lake lion. Somebody literally just take the fucking... Wow, someone literally just like, court beneath lake lion. I feel like lake lion is not a good enough term for it. But I guess lake lion is okay. That's acceptable. It's not great, but it's acceptable. So yeah, so that's what we need. That's what Brettonia needs. They need Hemeralds. Okay, so Hemeralds, Lake Lion, Naiads, Sons of Brettonia, and Truffle Hounds. Boom. That is 5 kick-ass fucking units. That would be God tier. Who would be your lord? You could either do Bahamut the Beast Slayer, or you could do oh my god, my brain is short-circuiting. Fucking what's his face? Bertrand the Brigand. You could do Bertrand the Brigand or Bahamut the Beast Slayer. Either would be great. Bertrand the Brigand would give Brettonia a ranged focused lord who's all about like who's more about like, yeah, he's basically Robin Hood. Which would be really interesting. No, not Malobod. Malobod cannot be a regular Brettonian lord. No, absolutely not. No. No. Malobod is a bad guy. Like, he would be a good free LC character. Malobod would be an excellent free LC character. Yeah, you could do Bahamut the Beast Slayer is your legendary lord, and then you get Bertrand the Brigand as a legendary hero. No, Malabad is not end times. I mean, Malabad shows up in the end times, but he's a very well-established character. He predates the end times by like 20 years. Like in our world. What about the Red Duke? Yeah, but the Red Duke is a vampire count character, not a Brettonian character. Would Brettonia ever get gunpowder units? Only at sea. No. So only on the ocean. The only way you can have gunpowder in Brettonia is if you are a naval vessel or you are playing a exiled Brettonia faction from like the old world. The old world, you could take gunpowder with Brettonia, but you have to be playing an exiled faction, which Total War Warhammer doesn't really have a concept of. Because Total War is mostly derived from 8th edition, not Old World. I don't know if they're even allowed to use Old World stuff, to be honest with you guys. What would I want to see in an End Times DLC? Skaven, mostly. If they gave me an End Times DLC, I would want Nagash versus Thanquol, and that's literally it. That's all I would want. I don't like a lot of the End Times shit, because most of it is shit. Like, just shit. So like give me Nagash with like a lot of his big bad stuff, and give me like Skaven with Vermin Lords and Storm Fiends, and I'm happy. I don't want anything else. I do not want Maggotkin. I don't want Nurgle shit. I don't want Khorne shit. The only exception I would be willing to make is Gutrot Spume. Gutrot Spume is the one character I would be willing to make an exception. Now, I do not want End Times Neferata. I do not want End Times Neferata. I want Warhammer Fantasy Neferata, and her big ultimate mount should be a Coven Throne. Coven Throne should be like the god tier mount for Neferata. No, fuck the Glotkin, dude. Absolutely not. No. No. Absolutely fucking not. The Glotkin is an Age of Sigmar character. I don't give a fuck what the End Times says. The Glotkin is an Age of Sigmar character. He appeared in the End Times, but he's literally just for AOS. Like, he showed up out of fucking nowhere. Kabanda is great too. I will ban you. I will ban your ass. What about Putrid Blight Kings? No. I consider them AOS. If Nagash comes, do you want a Mortarch mechanic? Yes, because Nagash and the Mortarchs is a very pre-established concept. That's not End Times. Nagash had Mortarchs before the End Times. I can handle the Glotkin if Wood Elves get Kurnoth Hunters. That's exactly why we should not have the Glotkin. Because if you pull in the Glotkin, then you're going to start pulling in a bunch of other stupid shit like Kurnoth Hunters and all these other things that don't belong in fantasy. They're not fantasy units. They should not be in fantasy. If you want those units, you should get a Total War Age of Sigmar. What do I think about End Times Isabella? Garbage. Throw it in the trash. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Who'd be my Bloodline Lords? Well, I have a whole nice, like, sexy video you can go watch on that. But for me, the Bloodline DLC Lord should be Neferata for the Lamians, Zacharias the Ever-Living for the Necrarchs, Vorag Bloody Tooth for the Strigoi, and, oh my gosh, Wallach Harkin for the Blood Dragons. Because those are the big bads for each of those bloodlines. And then you make the Red Duke playable as a free bonus. And the Red Duke, to make him a little more unique, you make him like a hybridized Vampire Count Brettonia faction. So he gets access to like turned Brettonian Knights as like one of his unique gimmicks. Will I ever play the Nagash mod? Maybe at some point. Opinions on Nippon? I really hope we get it. I really want Nippon. I'm going to put on some background music because I'm just sitting here. I was about to say I'm talking to you guys, but more accurately, I'm yelling at you guys. Let's see. Oh my, Indie Pride using fucking 40k art for his Skull Taker image. Ugh, gross. Let's see. What's good background music? That'll do. Nippon or Fishman? Don't make me choose between my beloveds. I refuse. I steadfastly refuse. I love to see Araby. Yeah, me too. Araby, honest to God, Araby is my white whale. Araby is my white whale. What are my thoughts on a Skaven DLC? So I think Skaven could genuinely do 2 more DLCs. I think Skaven could get a Clan Pestilence DLC and they could get a Thankful DLC. Excuse me, DLC. Alternatively, you could just do a Skaven DLC and it is heavily pulled from End Times and Clan Pestilence. Because Clan Pestilence is missing a shitload of stuff. Like, they are missing so much. End Times Vlad? No, what? How many times do I have to say no End Times before it gets through y'all's thick-ass skulls? Where is your listening comprehension? Come on. What do you think about them adding units from factions we might not get in the game, like Nippon, Albion, or Araby, or Dogs of War, just so we have them in game? I think that is okay if, as an absolute last resort. I think it's more acceptable for things like Albion and the Amazons. I would be fine with them being like really unique mercenary units. Like Amazons, Halflings, and Albion are all good examples of factions that could be represented by a handful of units and maybe like a hero. Because there's just no way you can make, I genuinely do not think you can make full playable factions out of them. Would no End Times mean no more gas? I could live without more gas. They're cool. I would like to have them, but I could easily live without them. What about Storm of Chaos? The vast majority of the DLCs we've been getting have been Storm of Chaos. So yes, Storm of Chaos is obviously okay. Opinion on Total War Warhammer: The End Times as like a DLC? Eh. I mean, they couldn't fit everything they would want to fit in it. It would either be absolutely fucking colossal. Here's the problem with the End Times, guys, right? Here's the big problem with the End Times. Is that the End Times only gave new units to like 4 factions. Nurgle, Khorne, Skaven, and Nagash. That's it. Like, nobody else got anything. Like, the End Times was not well designed to, like, add. Like, it was Garbo. It was so Garbo. Hey, Lionheart rating. Thank you so much, Lionheart. Lionheart, what'd you think of the video? What'd you think of the stuff, the thing? We're just rambling right now. End Times Mandrid Skaven Slayer? That's what? No. Yeah, Hobgoblin Khanate would be really kick-ass. Hobgoblin Khanate would be very kick-ass. Thank you very much for the raid. Hello there, raiders. We're chatting about the DLC reveal information in the future of Total War Warhammer by Creative Assembly today, which was super exciting. We watched it earlier. Now we're just kind of chatting and having a talk. If you don't know me, hello there, Lore Master of Sotek. I am considered kind of one of the guys that really knows his shit when it comes to the lore of Warhammer Fantasy and the lore and literature and the various games and all sorts of other stuff. But we're just kind of having fun chatting and talking about stuff. So mostly me yelling at people right now. But feel free to join us if you need to get going or get some food or go to bed, get some rest or whatever. Feel free. And please don't feel obligated to stay. Really appreciate y'all coming by. And if we can make sure that we give Lionheart some shout-outs, I think I may have to do it myself. I think the mods are kind of scattered to the winds right now. There we go. Oh, you're playing Manor Lords. How is that? Is Manor Lords fun? Really refreshing to hear CA taking on board a lot of what the community's been asking for and being pretty open and transparent. Seems like a lot of good policy changes from above in terms of the scope and scale of the DLC going forward, keeping Throne style of DLC, which is good. Yeah, I agree. I agree, absolutely. I think doing the Thrones of Decay format, I don't think we need it for every DLC, but I think doing one for each Chaos God is good. Like, so we did Tzeentch, we did Nurgle, now we're doing Khorne, next is Slaanesh, and then I think from there they can call it. Because I know for me, so they talked about doing a Vampire Counts DLC. For me, I am praying, crying, sacrificing, pimping myself out on the streets, however you want to call it, in the hopes that the Vampire Count DLC will be Champion of Chaos style. I want a Champion of Chaos style DLC for the Vampire Counts, where it just adds a bunch of new units, and instead of one for each god, it's one for each of the bloodlines that is not Von Karstein. So it has like a Lamian focus, a Necrarch focus, a Strigoi focus, and a Blood Dragon focus. That would be like, mwah, like that would be the perfect way to finish off the Vampire Counts. What do you think the start positions for the Legendary Lords will be? The west side of the map needs a lot of love. Yeah, I think most of the characters will either be in Lustria or Cathay. I think they'll be in Lustria or Cathay. Like Gorbad Ironclaw, I think will be in Grand Cathay, because there are some Greenskin factions over there that have like some really nice open space to themselves for a new Legendary Lord up in like the Kunlun Mountains. So I think that would be a really good space for Gorbad, and that would also put the Greenskins in like a really fun new area. And then for Skulltaker could go anywhere. I think Lustria would probably be best. You chuck Skulltaker over in Lustria. And then for Golgfag, the thing I've been saying today, which I don't know if I'm still going to feel this way later, is that Golgfag, I mean, he could go anywhere. His whole point is that he wanders the world. But you could put him, I would actually put him where Scrag is. I would put Golgfag where Scrag the Slaughterer is, and then I would pick up Scrag the Slaughterer, and I would move Scrag probably to like southern Cathay, like southeast Cathay, to put Scrag a lot closer to the Great Maw. What's Gorbad's whole thing about? So Gorbad Ironclaw is the most successful orc war boss to ever live. He led one of the mightiest wars that the world had ever seen. And it was about 700 years ago from the modern era. So Gorbad's been not around for a really long time. But Gorbad Ironclaw basically was a big scary war boss who built up a lot of power in the Badlands and went around and dominated a bunch of tribes. And then he led a big invasion north, kicked the shit out of the dwarfs, pushed through Blackfire Pass, and made it into the Empire. And then in the Empire, he devastated the Empire. And he even went to the electoral province of Solend, and he got in a huge battle against the Empire and fought against one of the Elector Counts wielding the Solend Runefang. And Gorbad was such a badass that he won. So Gorbad Ironclaw took on an Elector Count and killed him, despite the fact that he had a Runefang, and Gorbad took the Runefang for himself. And then he wiped the province of Solend off the map. So the Empire used to have 12 provinces. Nowadays it only has 10. And one of them, being Solend, got completely wiped off the face of the map by Gorbad Ironclaw's Wa. And because the thing about Gorbad is that he was an extremely good tactician from a Greenskin standpoint. Like, by a human standards, he was a pretty okay tactician, but by orc standards, he was literally a fucking genius. Like, he was the Napoleon of Greenskins. And then his invasion wandered north, and he laid siege to Altdorf, where, unfortunately for him, the siege of Altdorf drug out for too long. And he ended up, like, his wall started to kind of, like, lose momentum because he was just laying siege to the city for so long. He did get the Emperor of the Empire killed because Gorbad did unleash, I think it was a trio of wyverns, and one of those wyverns ate and killed Emperor Sigismund. So the Emperor died. But the city managed to hold on, and Gorbad, I can't remember exactly how, but he got wounded at some point. So he was already kind of hurting and wasn't at, like, his ultimate power anymore. And because he was just laying siege to the city and not actually getting anything done, a lot of the parts of his army started to break off and wander off. And eventually his army was falling apart to such an extent that Gorbad fled because he realized he could no longer take the city. So Gorbad tried to basically regather his troops, and he fell back in the hopes of falling back to the Badlands. But as Gorbad was making his way from Altdorf towards Blackfire Pass, his army ran into a dwarf throng that had set out to attack him from the rear. So his army, which was already battered and kind of falling apart, and he was wounded, like, things were bad. His army ran smack into a dwarf army and got massacred. But the really key thing about Gorbad's legacy is that Gorbad was never found, allegedly. There's a whole note about how nobody knows what happened to Gorbad, and it talks about how it's believed that if the dwarves had tracked him down and if they had killed him in that battle, surely they would have made, like, a big fuss about it, because they would have, like, you know, struck out a bunch of grudges in the Damas Khorne. But they didn't. Like, the dwarves didn't say anything about if they got him. So it's heavily insinuated that Gorbad Ironclaw got away and that he escaped. And he's never seen again. So, you know, you could say that he did die at the battle and, like, just nobody noticed, or he escaped but then he, like, died somewhere else just due to his wounds, or he, you know, got killed by some backstabbing other orc or goblin, or maybe he successfully wandered off and just terrorized some other part of the world that we never heard about. When they have given the Runefang back, the Solid Runefang was later recovered, but not for, like, centuries. It was actually fairly recently rediscovered. And it was given to the Reichsmarschall. So Reichsmarschall Kurt Helborg currently wields the Solon Runefang as Reichsmarschall, because the province of Solon no longer exists, so the Solon Runefang does not belong to anybody. So Karl Franz, who got it back because a group of adventurers found it at the bottom of a cave, he gave it to Kurt Helborg as a symbol of his office. Can orcs die from old age? The lore is pretty unclear on it. The general speaking answer seems to be no. As long as they are, like, continuing to fight and stay active, orcs seem to be, greenskins in general, seem to be essentially immortal. Because Grimgor Ironhide, based on the information we have, Grimgor Ironhide is something like 3,000 years old, or like 2,700 years old, because Grimgor Ironhide was present for the Black Orc Rebellion at Zarnagrund, and that took place, like, before the Empire was founded by a couple hundred years. So, like, Grimgor is old as fuck. Gorfang Rotgut is really old. He's like a couple centuries old. So, could Gorfang still be alive? Yeah, probably. The vultures are just remade vultures that had Tomb Kings. I mean, they're new models, but do they have, like, the same skeleton? It seems likely. However, I will say that blood vultures are going to be god tier for Ogre Kingdoms. Like, Blood Vultures are going to be a game changer for Ogre Kingdoms. Getting a flying monstrous beast unit that's going to be able to like get into enemy gun lines and like get on artillery or hit enemies in the rear and give ogres the ability to contest the air, that is a huge deal for ogres. Like, god damn, that's a big deal. Carrion are not bad. Carrion are excellent. Like, they have a very specific role, but Carrion are fucking amazing in the right circumstances. Like, they're not a bad unit. What would my dream DLC be? I don't fucking know. I mean, no. I mean, outside of race packs. Fucking, I don't know. I would say that my dream DLC that's not a race pack and is not the Vampiric Bloodlines. My dream DLC, if I could like put anything I want in it and didn't like, but I had to like follow like a vague format. To be honest, a DLC that I really want CA to do, but I don't know if they have the will to do it, would be, I would want a Legendary Lord, Legendary Hero DLC. That literally just adds some Legendary Lords and Legendary Heroes to the game, but doesn't come with any units. Like, it only adds some more Lords and Heroes to the factions that are, like, essentially kind of done and just need more characters. That would probably be my biggest wish. Because I don't feel confident that that's going to happen. Like, Wood Elves, for instance. I don't think the Wood Elves need another DLC. I think Wood Elves are fine. Like, they've got all the units they could possibly have. Like, you could make some arguments for some really weird shit, but I think they're done. But I really want Erloth, I really want Erloth as a Legendary Lord. I really want Nyeth the Prophetess as a Legendary Lord. And I really want Scarlock the Hunter as a Legendary Hero. So, you know, so I would need that character only pack. Same thing for Dark Elves, in my opinion. I think the Dark Elves don't need any more DLCs. I think Dark Elves just need some like character stuff. Like, give us a reworked Black Ark Fleet Master that actually looks like a unique model, or actually looks like the tabletop model. And then give me Khorne Darkhand and Shadowblade as legendary heroes, and then give me Talaris Dreadbringer as legendary lord, and I'm done. I'm good. Like, I am hoping that the Dark Elves will get access to a new unit through the Slaanesh DLC, because I'm hoping the Anointed will be a Slaanesh unit. But yeah, that would be good. Sea Dragons? Yeah, I can see the argument for Sea Dragons. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can see that. Crimson King DLC for Tomb Kings? Get that shit out of my face. How dare you slander? How dare you slander Ramhotep the Visionary? How dare you slander his name? Ramhotep the Visionary is the next Tomb King Legendary Lord. How dare you? Crimson King could suck my nards. Ramhotep is the one true Legendary Lord. Ending Koresh chances? I would probably ballpark them around like 20 to 30%. I think End and Koresh are very, very possible. Because I have it on very good authority from sources that I trust very, very deeply that Games Workshop is going to do End and Koresh for the old world. It's probably not going to be for, you know, a good few years, but they're going to do it. Now, does that mean that Creative Assembly is going to do it? I have no fucking idea. That'd be really nice. But it's like, I really want a Lizardmen DLC. I want like 2 Norska DLCs. I want a Vampire Coast DLC. I want at least 1 more Cathay DLC, probably 2 more Cathay DLCs. But like after this DLC, I think Ogre Kingdoms are gonna be done. Like I want Gark Ironskin as a legendary, like a free LC legendary lord. But other than Gark, I feel like after this upcoming DLC, Ogre Kingdoms they're done. I need to write a game document with all your DLCs and send them to CA. Bold of you to assume I have not already done that, though. I need to do it again. I haven't done it in a while. Who do I want for Norska DLCs? For Norska, I want Muna Mim as the Fimir matriarch, or Fimir Mirg legendary lord, who is like your big monster caster legendary lord. And then for her DLC to come with a bunch of monsters and Fimir units, and like weird creatures. And then I want Bjorg Bearstruck as a werebear legendary lord to lead a DLC that features more human and were units. So like werebears as a generic unit, as well as like some other human stuff. And then give me Sail the Faithless as a free LC legendary lord, who is, you know, your basic bitch human caster character. Can someone explain why Norska is different from Chaos Warriors? I've been playing this game for years and I don't get it. You're not the only one, Goat Man. Essentially, Norska is like, it's the tribes of chaos. So it is people who have a culture and a lifestyle that isn't like purely and utterly consumed, so to speak, by, like, instead of being exalted champions of the dark gods who do not have a home and are just roving bands of insane people that are trying to burn the world down, Norskins are an actual culture and a nation, though they don't really see themselves as a nation, but it's a collection of tribes. Technically, Norska really shouldn't be called Norska. It should be called the Tribes of Chaos, because it should represent more than just Norska. But unfortunately, they called it Norska. Because Tribes of Chaos doesn't really roll off the tongue very well. Norska, I think, sounds cooler. Though, to be fair, I mean, you could do pretty much all the Legendary Lords I suggested, and it would still just be Norska, except for Sile. But Sile the Faithless is from the Dolgan, and nobody likes Sile. Everybody fucking hates Sile. So for him to, like, leave his tribe and join up with the Norskins would actually be very... that would be very normal for him. But Norska is more about, like, it's got, like, much more of a berserker theme, kind of like your stereotypical fantasy Vikings, like fantasy Northmen Vikings that are, like, really bare-chested, very little armor, a lot of ice themes, a lot of, like, really weird creatures that come out of, like, the cold mires and the fens, and stuff like that. Separating the Warriors of Chaos from Norska is actually super difficult, and it's weird that CA did it, but I don't hate it. I think it works fine. In regular fantasy, like tabletop, separating, like, Warriors of Chaos was Norska. Like, Norska was a part of the Warriors of Chaos. But in Total War, they decided to split them up to just make another really fun Chaos roster, which is like, oh, okay, that's cool. Could I add the other streams to Andy, with Andy to Lordbeard Spotify? Yes, I'm just waiting on Andy to send me a image, now that I think about it. Let me send him a reminder. If Norsa gets Sile, Tarmakon should be able to confederate him. I mean, you could do... I would probably lean more towards, like, you could give them diplomacy buffs towards each other. I don't think confederation would be necessary. I feel like that would be... I don't know. I don't think confederation in that sense would be strictly required. Because it would be, like, super fucking messy. Because you would have to, like, turn Sile into, like, a Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle Lord, which would make him not Sile. Like, I just don't think that would work very well. I think that would be really bad. I just don't think it would work. I think you could, like, vassalize him. Vassalizing him would be fine. but I don't think you should be able to confederate them. I think that'd be silly. Any chances we'll get one more dwarf DLC? Yes. I think it is very likely there is one more dwarf DLC. You're not Lionheart. He doesn't wear glasses. Oh. What will you do now? How can you tell the difference now? We're the exact same. We have the same exact accent, the same facial structure and everything. Like, yeah, you'll never know. You'll never know. Rip Gorfang. Gorfang's not like out. He's just not the legendary lord for this DLC. Where would I put a Fimir legendary lord? I would put Munamim. Probably in like probably somewhere in the Empire. But you could put her in a lot of different places. You could put her in like a marsh, as long as it's like a marshy type environment, you could literally put her anywhere. Yeah, you could put her in the wastelands north of Marienburg. That would be very appropriate. That would be very close to Norska though. Like I would kind of want her to be further away. No roadmap. Bitch, we literally got a roadmap video. We got a roadmap as a video that showed concept art, in-game animations, in-game footage, and like developer interviews with confirmed legendary lords and several confirmed units. Get the fuck out of here with that. No roadmap. They didn't give you a PNG. Get the fuck over it. My God. So fucking whiny. Jesus. They gave you something so much better and you're bitching. God damn. Get a life. Was I excited to hear about vampire counts? Yes. I'm extremely excited to hear about vampire count stuff. Chances of Egrin von Horseman being added as free DLC with the cult rework, I think pretty high. I think there's based on what they were saying, I think there's actually a reasonably high chance that the cult rework will come with Egrin von Horseman for Tzeentch. Has there ever been a Fimir Lorebeards? No. I would really like to do one, but I think Andy is a little nervous about doing it. Because the Fimir do have a pretty unpleasant, like, real world history. Where a lot of their initial writing was, like, really not great. Who do I want for the Vampire Coast DLC? I want the Jade-Blooded Vampires. I want the Jade-Blooded Vampires to be essentially like Cathayan Vampire Coast, with like heavy inspiration from the undead that we would see in Cathay, and add them onto the Vampire Coast, and have their legendary lord and the leader of the Jade Vampire faction be a pirate queen based on that really famous pirate queen from Chinese history. That would be like super kick-ass. Would I rather have Crimlo or Kabanda in Total War Warhammer? Crimlo. I would take Crimlo over Kabanda any day of the week. Any day of the week. Because at least Crimlo is an actual character from the history of Warhammer Fantasy. Kabanda is not. Kabanda was literally a really shitty, lazy, stupid-ass writer. Which I say that it makes me so irritated just to think about it. Kabanda was literally just a fucking hardcore Space Marine Blood Angels fanboy jacking off in the end times and shooting his load all over the death of fantasy so he could put in his favorite 40k character, which was the dumbest fucking shit in the universe. He's a 40k character. He does not belong in fantasy at all. With the updates happening between the 0.0 updates, will you bully CA for naval battles? No, I won't. Because that's impossible. It can't work. If you wanted to make a naval Total War Warhammer, it would have to be a completely new game. It would literally have to be a completely new game. Because every faction would require, like, several different kinds of ships. And, like, virtually none of the ships would be able to transfer between factions. You'd have to make, like, literally a brand new game. Sanguinius for 100th Legendary Lord. Wouldn't that be the big reveal? Wouldn't that be the funniest reveal of all, that Sanguinius didn't actually die against Horus? Horus was, like, about to kill him, and he just fucking pieces out and goes to fantasy. Because he's like, you know, fuck this universe. I'm gonna go to this better... I'm gonna go to a better place. I'm gonna go to a better realm. Just pieces out. Mr. Pig, maybe instead of just Fimir being something like Creatures of Norska / Chaos, so could brush over the unsavory parts of Fimir history. Well, I don't know. I feel like it's important to talk about the Fimir. It's important to talk about their history. It's important to, like, explain that just because some... And granted, I don't know if Andy would agree with this. This is why I'm, like, hesitant about saying this, but I'll say that in my opinion, I'm not speaking for Andy here. I'm only speaking for myself. I think just because a piece of an idea has a negative history, has like a really unfortunate past, I don't think that means that you can never use it. I think it should be possible to salvage like unsavory concepts and, like, clean them up, cut off the bad shit, rewrite it, make it good again, and put it back into the setting. But I think when you do that, you have to acknowledge what it was in the past. Like, I don't think you can just, like, re-release and be like, I'm just gonna pretend that other shit never happened. Like, I'm just gonna ignore it. Because I think in the modern age of information, that just sets you up for trouble. I think it's important to acknowledge, like, hey, you're playing a fantasy universe that's, like, almost 50 years old, and it was made in the 80s, and some of the shit from back then was really tasteless and, like, really bad and just unfortunate. But, you know, the setting has evolved, and it continues to evolve, and taking things that were not well written in the past and making them into something exciting and cool in the future. Because otherwise, like, if you just try and bury it, I don't know, I feel like it's always going to come back to get you. Or you're going to have people that, like there's an unfortunate thing that if you're using something that has, like, a bad history and you don't acknowledge it, then you can run into situations where, like, somebody will be using that piece of content, like Fimir, for instance, right? Like, if, like, let's say you're writing for Warhammer and you don't acknowledge anything about the Fimir and you're doing, like, a focus on them, that can lead to a situation where, like, someone might be like, oh, Fimir, cool, I want to, like, look up more stuff about the Fimir. And so they go on Google and they, like, look up Fimir lore and they start reading, like, a lot of the older stuff and are like, what the fuck? Like, I think it's worth being like, you know, this is a new adaptation of the Fimir, evolving beyond what it used to be. Zenman, Are you excited about the confirmation of the Fishman DLC? Rich clearly said in the video, well, you know, Warhammer World is our oyster. Yes, I am very excited for the confirmed Fishman race pack. Yep. That'll be the greatest DLC. That'll be the greatest DLC ever made. Is the Fishman DLC. Yeah, Beastman lore used to be like that. Beastman lore used to have elements of that, but the thing about the Fimir is that was like their whole gimmick. What did the Fimir do? So, for those unaware, the old Fimir lore back when like Warhammer was really edgy and trying to go a little too grimdark, back in like the late 80s, basically the Fimir the writers took Fimir down a path where the whole gimmick to them and like every single story you read about them involved Fimir coming out of the mists, attacking humans, killing the men, and they would take all the women back and take them into the swamps and just use them to make more Fimir. So like they would take them back and they would just be like sexually assaulted over and over again to create new monsters. And that was like it. That's all the Fimir did. And it wasn't like they did other things. That was like all they did. And so it led to this situation where anytime you read a Fimir story, it got like just super rapey. Every single time. So a lot of people were just like, okay, like fuck the Fimir. Like that's fucking terrible and garbage. And is very, and it would like, some of the stories could be awfully graphic. So they changed it, and now Fimir like still come out of the swamp and capture people, but now they just sacrifice you and kill you, which is in some ways like it's just better in the way that fantasy works. And it's also like, you know, and they made the Mirgs, in the modern lore, the Mirgs are now much more interesting creatures. The Mirgs are a lot more interesting now because you now have these matriarchs leading the clans. And it talks about how each individual clan only has one female, being like the big matriarch, which are like much larger than the males. And whenever like a new female is born, it's expected that she eventually has to leave her clan and go found her own clan, because you can only have one Mirg per Fimir clan. And if there cannot be two Mirgs, there can only be one. So whenever a new daughter is born, she's raised and taught for an extent of time before setting off to go found like her own, which is really interesting. Where's Andy? Doing other stuff. This is not a Lord Beers thing. This is just a me thing. Do I think we'll ever do a Brettonia DLC? Yes, I do. I think we could get one Brettonia DLC. Do you see about Finbeast also being something from Air News now? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Finbeast. I would love to see Finbeast for Norska. I think Finbeast for Norska, along with being part of the Moon and Mim DLC, would be great. How's dog? Sadie is good. Sadie's having a good time. Gorbad survival story? It's less Gorbad survival and more Gorbad was never confirmed to have been killed. That would be the best way I could put that. Any more Tomb Kings DLC? I think we have one more. I think we can get one more Tomb King DLC. Yeah, absolutely. With Ramhotep the Visionary being the Legendary Lord, giving us a Necrotect Legendary Lord. Then you get Prince Apophis as your Legendary Hero, the Scarab Prince. And then you get the High Lich Priest as your generic lord, so we finally get a fucking caster lord. Then for the hero, you get the Tomb Herald, and then for your units, you get the Kimric Titan, which is the giant fucking construct. So you get the Kimric Titan. You get, I would say Ushabti with great weapons would be good. So like, so Ushabti Ancients, we'll say. So Ushabti Ancients, or Ancient Ushabti, whatever the fuck they're called. Then you do, I would do Tomb Guard chariots. So like chariots that have more elite Tomb Guard on them would be really cool. And then, oh god, I'm trying to remember. You could do the melee Bone Giant variant. There's supposed to be a Necrofex Colossus. So the Bone Giant got a name change in 8th edition. They're not called Bone Giants anymore. They're called, what the fuck is it? Tomb Kings. Tomb Kings. They are now called, or at least in 8th edition, they got changed to the Necrolith Colossus. So you could do a Necrolith Colossus, so it would essentially be a Bone Giant with like melee weapons. So it could have like one big great weapon, or it could have 2 hand weapons, and it just like rah, 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 rah. And then you could do like, I don't know, like a more elite archer unit or some shit. The Bone Dragon, yeah, if Games Workshop would allow them to use the Bone Dragon, they could absolutely use a Bone Dragon. Do vampire accounts have a Bone Giant? No. They do not. And they have zombie dragons, but they do not have a Bone Giant. You could do an entire mini DLC on just fixing giants. There is nothing wrong with giants. Giants are good. If you think giants are really bad, I don't mean to be mean. You're just bad at using them. But they're perfectly fine. You can use giants are extremely good. You just have to protect them properly. Did you miss the reaction? Unfortunately, yes. But it's okay. You can just, go back to watch the YouTube video from the beginning of the stream. Yeah, it is worth noting the Tomb King Bone Giant is not an actual undead giant. It is a construct. So it is a big statue that is built to look like a skeleton giant. How do you make better use of your giants? Make sure that you have like Chaos Warhounds or a flying unit or a fast beast or cavalry unit that goes around the enemy, right? Goes around them and engages their ranged units, and then use your giant to snipe all of their characters, because giants will obliterate characters or most single entities. Like monsters, giants will kick the shit out of them, unless it's like a really anti-large spec monster. They will obliterate enemy characters. Just don't let your giant get surrounded. Support your giant. So like, engage enemy ranged units so they're not shooting your giant, and make sure your giant is being supported by some kind of melee infantry unit. It doesn't have to be a good unit, just like a unit of swordsmen, like a unit of gore herds, or a unit of like marauders or something. You just want something to support your giant so it doesn't just get surrounded. And the giant will do great. It'll be a great unit. They are so good at killing characters and monsters. A lot of people, like, they'll take their giant and they just throw it directly at the enemy alone. They just throw it at the enemy, and then it gets shot to shit or surrounded by halberds and stabbed to death, and it dies immediately. And they're like, why giant bad? And it's it's like, why you not use giant correctly? Like that's like having a war machine, like a cannon, turning it on melee mode and running it into the enemy, and then going, why cannon bad? Why is the cannon so garbage? I don't know. Why is the cannon so shit? Like, cannons are bad. Like, maybe you're just not using the cannon correctly. Or in this case, the giant. Do you think vampires should be faster? It would be nice. Vampires are supposed to be really fast, and they're movement 6 on tabletop, which is very fucking fast for an infantry unit. But, yeah. Any good lore reason why giants are not extinct? I would assume because they bone a lot. Well, okay, in the lore, giants are really fucking hard to kill. Giants are extremely hard to kill in the lore. They're absolutely fucking colossal. And because they're so goddamn big, the vast majority of things you would have on hand will do absolutely nothing to a giant. Like, you just really can't hurt them. In tabletop, they die to pretty much anything. But in the lore, like, even if you had like a cannon, like, it's probably gonna bruise the giant, might like take a chunk out of it. But unless you've got like a really good cannon that has a perfect shot, like perfect accuracy, the giant is probably gonna be mostly fine. And you know, you fired a shot, and the thing is, like, giants move like they don't move, they don't look like they're moving fast, but they cover territory really quickly because their steps are very big. But yeah, like giants, most things in the setting struggle to kill giants. Their tabletop stats are just bad. Because tabletop just they you know, tabletop makes it where most things in the game are capable of being killed reasonably, and that immediately makes about half the things on the table not lore accurate. Solemn Solar, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. I really appreciate that. The Darren, thank you for the 15 months. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate that. Mr. Big, thank you for the super chat. To be frank, a cannonball to a giant is like a BB to us. It's probably a little nastier than a BB. But yes. Did I ever finish Lords of the Lance? Yeah, Lords of the Lance is great. I enjoyed it a lot. I had like a couple of little criticisms about the book. But for the most part, I enjoyed it quite a bit. Like, like overall it was good. I wish Cetra had been a little bit more of a force. I also wish that they had done a little bit more effort explaining what was going on, like why the one Pegasus Knight was using a bow. Like, technically she's part of an exiled knight faction, so you could argue like, oh well, you know, just the way she interprets her vow, because she's an exile, she's like, oh, I can use a bow. But I wish they had like done a little more effort there, as far as like explaining that whole situation. But for the most part, I enjoyed it quite a bit. They also fucked up, that book also fucked up which king was alive. Because it's supposed to be King Lewin Orcslayer, and the book accidentally calls him King Lewin Leoncoeur, which is obviously not correct. Because Leoncoeur is the, like, quote-unquote modern king. Bone Grinder Giant possible. Yeah, I think the Ogre Kingdoms, this DLC might get a Bone Grinder Giant as one of their units. That being said, the Bone Grinder Giant I feel would be a little tricky to implement in game, because CA kind of has like a whole obsession with, like, whenever they make a monster, it like has to fit through a gate, is like the whole like modus operandi for how they do that. And the regular giant is already really fucking tall, so the Bone Grinder Giant would absolutely not fit through a gate. Now they could just be like, well, we're gonna give the Bone Giant the wall attacker trait, so it can just smash through walls and just can't go through the gate because it's too big, so it has to go around the gate by just smashing down a wall and just walking through. And, you know, that could work. Or they could give it a ducking animation, which would be really fucking cool. So it, like, ducks down into it, which would be sick. But, I don't see them doing that. But, it would be cool to see that. Have I seen the new Lord intros? I'm aware of them, but I have not watched all of them yet. Have I watched any TV shows recently? No, I have not, unfortunately. I want to, but I'm bad at scheduling my time. Can we get a summary? Yes. The upcoming DLC, which is going to come out late this year, so probably like November, October, is going to be Skulltaker leading the forces of Khorne versus Gorbad Ironclaw leading the Greenskins versus Golgfag Maneater leading the Ogre Kingdoms. Ogre Kingdoms have already been confirmed to be getting the Thunder Tusk and Blood Vultures. Khorne is already revealed to be getting the Slaughter Brute as a new monster. and the Greenskins, through the use of like a pun, are confirmed to be getting the Colossal Squig, which is all super exciting. They've also confirmed that the Vampire Counts and Norska are going to get DLCs in the distant future, and they've also confirmed that it seems like the DLC after Khorne is going to be the Slaanesh DLC, which will be Thrones of Decay style. So it will be 3 legendary lords, 3 legendary heroes, a generic lord, a generic hero, and 5 units per faction. No Iron Gut? I assume you mean Rot Gut? Gorfang Rot Gut? I will say, I am really happy that the community, the Total War Warhammer community, has become, like, big fans of Gorfang Rot Gut. Because I shit y'all not, like, 3 or 4 years ago, maybe a little longer, but, like, years ago, people fucking did not, like, talk shit on Gorfang. Like, everyone was like, oh, why would I want Gorfang? Blah, 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 blah. Like, Gorfang's a fucking badass. Like, he's such a kick-ass character. I really, really hope we get him. Who's the FLC Lord? The FLC Lord is a Khorne character. They did not say who it is. I would be willing to bet a fair amount of money that it's Arbal the Undefeated. Who would win in a fight, Gorfang or Grimgor? Grimgor. Grimgor would beat Gorfang. It would be a fight. It would last a long time. But Grimgor would kill Gorfang. Thoughts on Blood Vultures? Awesome. Great. Love it. They are going to be a very, 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 very good utility unit for Ogre Kingdoms. Ogre Kingdoms getting a flying unit is like a huge deal for them. That is a big fucking deal for Ogres. Because that is a very fast-moving unit that is probably going to be surprisingly durable and can hit quite hard against lightly armored enemies. And it's going to be amazing for taking out enemy range units and war machines, or at least tying them up in combat long enough for the ogres to then get into the fight. That's going to be a huge deal for ogres. Who's the most Texas character in Warhammer? I don't fucking... Probably Greasus. Because everything's bigger with Greasus. And also, I've seen a lot of people on motor scooters at Walmart. And every time you see it, you go, hey. If only they had to... If they were being pushed by children, then they would look just like them. That being said, I really, really hope that Grease's Goldtooth gets a bigger model for this DLC. Please, 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 God, can we make Grease's just big? Like, I want him to be the biggest, fattest ogre in the game. I don't care if it makes him more vulnerable in combat. I don't care if it means he takes more damage. I don't care if it makes him more vulnerable to missile fire. Just give him more health. Just fucking give him more health. Yeah, Kolek Sun Eater should also be bigger. Yeah, I think Kolek should be made bigger as well. I understand that from a balance perspective, making them bigger may make them worse, but I don't fucking care. I just don't care. What's the tribe of ogres that have the Juggernaut Rider? Well, it's not technically a Juggernaut. It is a mechanical Rhinox. But it's not a Juggernaut. Because it's way bigger than a Juggernaut. Way fucking bigger than a Juggernaut. And that's Gark Ironskin of the Ironskin tribe. Do halflings have an armory in Warhammer Fantasy? Kind of. The halflings had units that you could take using Dogs of War, but they were technically part of the Empire. But the halflings had like a handful of units you could take in Empire armies. So you had like the halfling hot pot, the halfling soup tank, the halfling slingers. You had the cock riders, which were halflings that rode on giant chickens. They were a Dog of War unit, so they were like a Regiment of Renown type thing. Lumpen crooks fighting cocks. That's what they were called. They had some White Dwarf stuff. I want Badger Knights. Badger Riders are like fucking kick-ass halfling shit. Shouldn't the Star Dragon be bigger? I guess technically, sure, but like, I'm not too worried about the dragons. The dragons are fine. Do I think Fimir should be in a future Norska DLC? They fucking better be. So yes. Do you think we'll get good sieges? Yes, eventually. I mean, I don't think the sieges are horrible. A lot of people hate them more than I do. But I think CA has definitely demonstrated that they are trying to make sieges better. And I think they will just keep adding on to that. Thing is, with Greases, you can't make Greases bigger without making the Nobblers bigger. Yeah, they could. They could make Greases bigger without making the Nobblers bigger. It would just take a bit of work. Which is why they should use this DLC to do it. Geomantic web rework. They did talk about the geomantic web in today's video. But ladders need to go away. Yeah, the ass ladders are terrible. Nobody likes ladders. I think ladders should just be removed from the game because it would make siege towers far more valuable. And the ability to like wall break much more valuable. And here's my thing. I honestly believe that you should get rid of the ladders. So the only way to climb a wall is with a siege tower. And then I think gates should be completely immune to damage unless you have the siege attacker trait or you have a bonus against bonus damage against buildings. Like warhounds, cavalry, like units that are not specialized should not do fucking dick to a gate. They should not do any damage to a gate. That would make sieges so much more strategic. Like, so much more strategic. And then if they wanted to make something really fucking cool, they could then make it where, like, ethereal units could pass through gates. I know everyone's like, oh, they could pass through walls, but that would probably be, like, just way too much. But if they could pass through gates, that'd be cool. Give, like, spider riders the ability to climb walls like they could in tabletop. That would be super fucking cool. Yeah, an older total. Yes, an older total war. Older total wars. There we go. That's older total is hard to say. Yes, ladders were something you could build like siege towers and stuff. I just don't think they're necessary for Total War Warhammer. But like ethereal units being able to go through gates would be fucking sick. What about ladders tech and technologies? I mean, you could. Yeah, you could. I think people just hate the way they look. Like, the idea that your unit just walks up to a wall and then they just manifest a ladder out of, like, nothingness and put it up against the wall and then they just sort of, like, climb up there. It just looks really dumb. Ethereal units should be able to walk right through, to be honest. Not necessarily. Like, you have to remember that within the Warhammer universe, people are aware of the fact that ethereal things exist, and so they take proper precautions against it. So most gates and walls are blessed, or have, like, runes, or have magical doodads or curses or other things put onto them, to make it where ghosts cannot pass through them. That being said, the thing that's fucky is that ethereal units are supposed to be able to fly. Like, in tabletop, if you have the ethereal rule, it's automatically assumed that you could fly. But in Total War, they made it where ethereal units just kind of like hover above the ground. So they don't have the verticality that they're supposed to have. But I don't think making them fly would necessarily be a good thing. What the fuck? Get out of here. Do I think this is the last Warhammer Total War? I don't know. Well, well, okay, hold on. Oh, okay, hold on. Do y'all want to hear... do y'all want to hear a really crackpot theory? Like, do y'all want to hear the dumbest fucking... I don't have my tinfoil hat. I wish I did. And I don't want to go rip up tinfoil to make a new one. Do y'all want to hear the dumbest fucking thing? Like, just the stupidest goddamn thing you will have heard today. Like, I'm gonna say it and you're gonna go, you dumb motherfucker. Right? Of what if what if, right? What if there was a limited amount of DLCs left for Total War Warhammer 3 and they're only doing one more race pack, being the Dogs of War, because after everything that's happened, CA realized that Total War Warhammer is like the way to go. And so they make a Total War Warhammer 4 that features Ind, Koresh, Nippon, and like the Fishmen as the starting playable races, as like the final thing for the game. Obviously, that's the future we all need. Could you imagine though? Could you imagine like, or like, oh no, actually no, I take it back. Fisherman would be cool, but more realistically, right? More realistically, you would do Nippon, the Hobgoblin Khanate, Koresh, and Ind. Like, come on, that would be fucking sick, right? Like, that'd be cool. Or, well, you know, though, if you did the Fishmen instead of the Hobgoblin Khanate, then you could actually have, like, the ocean would feature really heavily. Like, the ocean would feature very, very heavily. But the Hobgoblin Khanate would also be pretty goated. What about Araby? I mean, Araby you could have as a DLC at any point. But, because those are all, like, kind of in the same area, you know? Those are kind of in the same ballpark. Hobgoblin Khanate is the pre-order bonus? I like how you're thinking. There you go. I like what you're I like how you're thinking there. Do we have some factions based on Africa and Warhammer? Not right now, unfortunately. It's a really big, like, gaping hole in the universe. Games Workshop has been indicating that they're going to do something there, because if you go look at the new the world map for the old world and you actually go down to the Southlands, just as you're leaving the Land of the Dead and getting into the jungles, they have some written notes about some human tribes in those areas. And we do have a lot of lore that there are human tribes that live in the Southlands. And they're like people with extremely dark skin. But we know so little about them. I have always felt very, very strongly that a Zulu Empire inspired human faction would be fucking goated. Like, would be goated. No, Pygmies were not Africa. No, that is not true. Warhammer Pygmies were South American inspired, quote unquote. Or they're a Lustrian faction, so they were garbage. They were horrible. They were extremely racist. They were like painfully racist. Are there dark-skinned people in the Empire? Yeah. There are people of dark skin in the Empire. But there's a lot of notes about people from the Southlands. Like, if you go play through, like, the Enemy Within campaign, the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th edition campaign, some of the NPCs that you'll meet with your party are humans from the Southlands. Or they have Southland ancestry, I guess would be the better way to put it. Do I think the Southern Realms will get flushed out? Yes. They'll be called the Dogs of War, but I do believe they will receive a race pack, yes. Am I interested in the new AOS launch box? No. I want the book, but I don't care for the box. How do I imagine Nippon would play like? I have no fucking idea. There's a lot of different ways they could do Nippon. There are a stupid amount of ways they could do Nippon. Do I think Araby will get a DLC? I pray for it. I have a video on my channel that I'm quite proud of, which is the Araby proposal DLC video. I think they could do that and it would work super fucking well. Do I think it will happen? Probably not, but would I want it to happen more badly than like anything? Yes. Especially just to throw it in the face of all the people that are like, oh, Araby can't be done. It's like, yeah, it can. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. Human tribes of the old world map are just Arabian tribes? No, go. You need to go further south. Araby is only the western desert, to the west of the land of the dead. You need to go, all the way south, all the way till you hit the jungle. Will RNS Assault Spy benefit from Dogs of War? Hopefully. Make her a true hybrid faction. That would be nice. If they do a Zulu-inspired faction, be prepared to see Arch call it woke, if that word means anything anymore. Woke doesn't mean anything anymore. It's a useless term. It's a fucking useless term. And Arch is also a fucking idiot, so, like, whatever. I could not give... There's no... Look upon the field of my fucks and see that it is barren for the shit that pours out of the orifice in that man's face. What's my favorite race / faction? Lizardmen. Lizardmen are my favorite. Aren't there currently Tomb Kings in Araby territory? Right now, yeah, but you could just move them. Do the Tomb Kings fight Araby in the lore? Yes. Yes. There was a really nasty war known as the Wars, I believe it was the Wars of the Dead, where Archon the Black basically invaded Araby, and it was bad. He destroys the city of Bel Aliad. And Archon the Black basically brings the golden age of Araby to an end. So Araby had like a really strong golden age that was really focused on like mathematics, alchemy, technology, magical knowledge. Like they were like at the height. And Archon the Black basically brings it crashing down. Because he just massacres so many people. There's a city where they live together? No, not exactly. There is a city in Nehekara. It's one of the tomb cities. I forget. I think it's Ryestra. Or Rysetra. I forget which exact city it is. But there's a city that's along the more northern side where the descendants of the people that is it Xandri? It might be Xandri. I don't remember which tomb city it is, but one of the tomb cities. It's the one ruled over by King Tutankhamun. I remember his name. Numas. Yes, it's Numas. Numas, which is ruled over by King Tutankhamun. There are people that are like descended from some of the folks that fled north, that came back, and they think that Tutankhamun is a god, and he allows them to live in his city,
I love that
and kind of like protects them and stuff. And there's an interesting dynamic there.
The Electrobox have been summoned.
But they are not, if I recall correctly, they're not Arabian. They have a different ancestry. Is he King Tut? Yes, he is. Yeah, he's Warhammer King Tut. Although the title says it's emergency stream, the Electrobox have been summoned. It was an emergency stream. I mean, we're kind of past the emergency now, but yes. Are there any Warhammer versions of the Greeks? Yeah, they're called the High Elves. Unless you want to argue that they're Roman, I guess. But well, like if you want like hardcore Romans, then you want the city, the Telean city of is it Remus? I think Remus is the one that has like the hardcore Rome stuff. To be very clear, the High Elves are not based off the Greeks. I just like to make that joke that there's a lot of Greek theming there, and there's a lot of similarities between them and the Greeks, but they're more heavily stolen, very heavily from one of the groups from Michael Moorcock's writings, along with a shitload of other stuff the Games Workshop does. They stole so much from Michael Moorcock. It's crazy. Yeah. The High Elves are very Atlantis themed. Yes, very heavily Atlantis themed, which tends to be more on your Greek inspiration leanings. Is there a legendary lord for Araby? The Golden Magus. The Golden Magus is a excellent. Go watch my fucking Araby video. Hold on, I'll even post it in chat. I'll be nice and I'll post it in chat for you. Let me dig it up. I was really proud of this video. I don't think a lot of people watched it, but I was proud of it. If you haven't, go check it out. I was really happy with it. I don't think a lot of people like it didn't get as many views as I would have liked, but that is the way it be sometimes. Yeah, the Araby mod is fun. I have messed around a little bit with the Araby mod. It's fun. I don't think that the only thing I don't like about the Araby mod is that they use Sultan Jafar, because Jafar is like he's so bad for Araby. He's so bad for Araby. Dude was like just the worst. So we're definitely getting rolling pin man-eaters. I wish. Are there any humans that live in South America, Warhammer? Yes. There are. They're not talked about a lot, but there are humans that live down there. You could argue that the Amazons are human, but I would say most evidence says they're not human. They're human adjacent, but they're not human. There's no beef between me and Legend, not that I'm aware of. As far as I'm concerned, Legend's a great guy. I don't think the leak thing was necessarily a great decision, but that's because I don't think the leakers had his best interest at heart. But like I have nothing but respect for him, and I've had nothing but good interactions with him. And I hope that him and his new kiddo are getting lots of, and his wife, of course, are doing really, really well. Amazons are half elves? Get the fuck out. You fucking heretic. How dare you? How fucking dare you spew such heresy in this sacred place? I thought Amazons were also an old one creation. Yes. Yeah, they are. Yeah, Amazons are a old one created species, but they were created by one old one. And the specifics of it are very mysterious and we don't know a lot. So if in Cathay, Araby, Nippon, etc. ever got developed, does that mean your 50% rule when it comes to humans in fantasy worlds? My 50% rule? What? I don't have a 50% rule. Or if I do, I forgot it. Both you and Legend are keeping this game alive, at least to the fans of the game. I mean, I would say a lot of content creators are contributing in different ways. You know, like I think the multiplayer community is like doing a phenomenal fucking job at keeping a lot of great interest and keeping people happy and excited. You know, this most recent patch was practically dedicated to the multiplayer community. I'll admit, I was a little sad that there was so little for campaign, but like the multiplayer guys were grossly overdue a dedicated patch. So I am happy for them. And but Turin and all the guys that run like a lot of those smaller, like more local tournaments and stuff, and the people that like do a lot of meticulous testing and are making sure features are working and stuff. Like there's so many people that contribute so much to making the Total War Warhammer game everything that it could be. Like I don't think there's any one person that can be like, oh, this person keeps the game alive. Like it really is a community effort. Oh, Phil. I feel like that ratio needs to be like higher. It should probably be like 75%. So basically an old one shut in, decided to make a female only race. Well, it was the only old one that is a woman. Female. Woman's probably not the right term. Female is probably the correct term. The old one, Rig, who we know very little about other than her like sphere of influence was like not femininity in like the sense of culture, but like femininity in the sense of like crafting the feminine aspects of species. The old ones have gender. Rig does, apparently. There's a note that the Lizardmen know about Rig, and they know that Rig is referred to as very notably like the crafter and creator of like female aspects of the various species, and is like the mother. But the Lizardmen do not have a concept of sex or gender, so to the Lizardmen it doesn't make any sense. Like they literally don't get it. Lizardmen are not male, they're just genderless. They just are. They have no reproductive organs. So they are sexless would be the proper term. To the point that when it comes to Rig, the Lizardmen don't really like acknowledge her or do any rituals or offerings to Rig because they don't understand what Rig is supposed to be. How are they born? Spawning pools, mate. Lizardmen come from spawning pools, which are freakishly super advanced technological devices that look like weird, like just big old pools. Some of them are outside like on the outskirts of the temple cities. Some of them are below in underground caverns beneath the temple cities. But if you were to look in there, you would see like what looks kind of like a bunch of tadpoles. And something happens within the spawning pools. Some kind of machine activates that causes some of them to develop fully to adulthood almost immediately with certain traits. And they emerge from the spawning pools fully grown. Lizardmen do not have like phases of growth. They go from like the itty bitty tiny little tadpole things to full grown adults. And they emerge from spawning pools knowing everything they need to know. David Johnson, love your content. Lord Vita's got me through some very difficult times. Oh, thank you, David. I hope times are going better for you these days. But I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Have spawning pools been destroyed? Yes. And it is horribly tragic when they are. It is a really, really bad thing. The Skaven of Clan Pestilence poisons quite a few spawning pools. Like they would dump like diseased filth into them, and it would cause the things that emerged from the spawning pools to be like half-formed, bleeding, foaming at the mouth monstrosities that would drag themselves out into the sunlight and die a couple minutes later. It's like really bad. Inquisitor Thomas, serious Crimlo lore question. Crimlo doesn't work with the modern version of the Slann, but if you change Crimlo to be a skink, could his story work? Yes. If you made Crimlo a skink, a Saurus, or a Kroxigor, his story could still work. As a Slann, his story does not work. But that's just because what he was. Crimlo was literally just like a skink or a Saurus warrior. Would be the best way to describe him. Because back then the Slann were very different. They were very different. Can Lizardmen create more spawning pools? No. The Lizardmen do not understand really how the spawning pools work, and they don't know how to make more of them. That was something that was lost with the old ones, along with a lot of other shit. The Lizardmen have very, very, very little understanding of how old one technology works. Are Slann stronger mages than elves? Here, let me rephrase that for you. Are Slann stronger than elves? Is like asking, is a nuclear bomb stronger than a candle? I'll leave it at that. Where did the big dinosaurs come from? They're native to the jungles of Lestria. Can Lizardmen corrupt with chaos? No. Not unless it was a insanely bizarre, unique circumstance. But the general answer is no. They can physically corrupt. If they're like blasted with Tzeentch magic that causes mutation, they will mutate and die. But Lizardmen do not mutate like humans do. They are quite resistant to it. Are there chaos ogres? Yeah, chaos ogres are like all over the place. There are tons of chaos ogres. Are undead Lizardmen possible? Anything undead is possible. You can make a zombie out of literally anything, as long as it leaves behind a corpus or a body. Wasn't Lestria made by the old ones? No. The planet of the Warhammer world, which is sometimes called Malice now, was a mostly ice-covered planet, but the equatorial band, so the equator, was all jungles, primordial jungles. So you had this big ring around the center of the planet where it was warm enough for there to be lots of plant life, and that's where all of like the big cold-blooded dinosaur creatures of the Warhammer Fantasy world originate from. So all of the dinosaur units, your pterodons, bastillodons, carnosaurs, stegodons, salamanders, razordons, ripperdactyls, those are all native to the Warhammer Fantasy planet. Granted, the continents were a Pangea, so it was one supercontinent that the old ones later like split up and divided apart after they moved the planet closer to the sun. But like, yeah, no. So native species that we know of in the Warhammer world are all the dinosaurs, toad dragons, though they were probably much different looking, but toad dragons are native. Your Dreadsaurians, your thunder lizards are native. Dragons are native. The Fimir are a native species. Dragon ogres are a native species. None of those were tinkered with by the old ones. Well, I'm going to rephrase that. None of them were created by the old ones. They may or may not have been tinkered with in time since then, but yeah. How bad did the Lizardmen lose in the end times? The Lizardmen, they did okay. The Lizardmen escaped. The Lizardmen actually got away. They turned out a lot of their temple cities and pyramids and stuff were actually spaceships, which honestly isn't that much of a stretch when you're dealing with old one technology, and the Lizardmen just pieced out. They fucked off. Because they realized the planet was fucked and they needed to get out of there. No, Zotes are an old one species. Like the Lizardmen are. What about Greenskins? Greenskins are aliens. Which, by the way, if you're talking about Warhammer Fantasy, Orcs is spelled with a C. It's O-R-C-S, not O-R-K-S. O-R-K-S is 40k orcs. But the orcs of Warhammer Fantasy, all Greenskins, were introduced by accident by the old ones. Me and Andy have a stream. I don't remember what stream it was. I cannot for the life of me remember which stream it was, but one of the streams we did, we actually talked about the Greenskins arriving on the Warhammer Fantasy planet, and it's basically the idea is that according to what lore we have, there is some suggestion that the Greenskins propagate through spores. They're technically a fungi species, but according to some sources, their spores got on the outside of the old one's ships and somehow survived like the vacuum of space and traveling through the ether and all that shit, and arrived on the Warhammer Fantasy planet. And then when the spaceships like landed or got close to the planet, the spores came down and like started spreading. But the old world lore says that the Greenskins snuck on board. Oh yes, it was one of the old world streams. Okay, so it was probably the old world stream part 2, I'm guessing. Part 1, no, it was probably part 1. It was probably the part 1 stream. Yeah, so the old world says that the Greenskins snuck on to one of the old one's giant ships and managed to sneak their way onto the planet, which is goofy as fuck, but also very appropriate for orcs and goblins. Yeah, they're space mold. How do I think the Monkey King DLC is going to fit into the future post the Slaanesh pack? I mean, it could be part of the Slaanesh pack for all we know, but I have no idea. I'm sure the Monkey King is coming at some point, but I just don't know when. Is 40k the future of fantasy? No. If you go back way back, it was, but modern 40k is our universe, like our actual real world universe, Earth, right now, 2024, 40,000 years in the future. No, I don't want Neferata in the Slaanesh DLC. Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't do that. Stop it. Because the vampire counts need to have a Champions of Chaos DLC. We need a Champions of Chaos DLC for the vampire counts. So Neferata should be in that DLC, not in the Slaanesh DLC. Get that evil out of here. We want like Slaanesh High Elves and I don't know, Dark Elves, or Slaanesh High Elves in Norska, or Slaanesh High Elves in Cathay. One of those. Is there a connection between the Sky Titans and the old ones? There is implied to be some kind of connection, but the Sky Titans were confirmed to have been a native species to the planet. So the Sky Titans were already here when the old one showed up. Who would I pick, Zacharias or Wazoran? Zacharias. Not even a question. Zacharias is so much more interesting than Wazoran. Wazoran's a nerd. Talaris, legendary hero, legendary lord. Legendary lord. Talaris Dreadbringer should be a legendary lord. And then you have... And then you have Khorne Darkhand and Shadowblade as legendary heroes. Because Talaris, you could do a whole big focus on, like, Blood Voyages, and he's, like, a really heavily armored, hardcore executioner focus character that's all about, like, anti-infantry and chopping people up with a big old two-handed blade. Isn't Zacharias basically Wazoran? No. Zacharias defeated Wazoran. Because, okay, Wazoran got betrayed by his... apprentice Melchior. So Melchior killed Wazoran, but Wazoran used some really goofy magic to basically switch his consciousness into Melchior's body and vice versa. So when Melchior killed Wazoran, Melchior actually killed himself because Wazoran possessed Melchior's body. Though it's also kind of implied that Melchior is still in there because Wazoran's like completely batshit insane. And then Melchior later takes Zacharias on as an apprentice, and Zacharias ends up betraying Melchior. The two of them have a duel. Zacharias loses and gets chased out, where he eventually gets run ragged and hides in a cave where a big old gigantic ancient black dragon like shows up and sets up its like nest. And Zacharias wakes up and he basically is like a little leech and starts feeding on the blood of the black dragon. Long enough that he builds back up his strength. He uses sorcery to put the black dragon into a slumber, and he drinks all of its blood. And if you know about vampires, you know if they manage to get their hands on an ancient dragon and drink a bunch of its blood, they cure their vampirism essentially, and they become like demigods. So Zacharias becomes basically a demigod. He drinks all the blood of the black dragon until it dies. He resurrects it as a zombie dragon, and he rides it back to Melchior's tower, where he kicks the shit out of Melchior, takes his tower for himself and all of his goodies. Melchior escapes, however, and is still like running around somewhere. But Zacharias like bodied Melchior. Do I think they're going to give Kislev another DLC? I have no idea. I'm going to be honest. You could do another DLC for Kislev. I don't know what it would be about. Like it kind of feels like every aspect of Kislev has kind of been explored. But like you could do a DLC. Like I know a lot of people would like a DLC purely focused on the Great Orthodoxy. So yeah. Am I gonna have lunch anytime soon? Probably. What about Dieter Hellschnitt? Dieter Hellschnitt would make a really good legendary hero. In a perfect universe, Dieter Hellschnitt would have been the legendary lord instead of Helman Gorst, because Helman Gorst is fucking stupid. It doesn't make any sense, but whatever, we're stuck with him. It should have been Dieter Hellschnitt, but because we live in the universe we do live in, Dieter Hellschnitt should just be a legendary hero. Just make it simple. And to be fair, he would be a very good legendary hero. A powerful necromancer riding on a manticore would actually make a pretty sexy legendary hero. What's the best book to learn about Heinrich Himmler? Unfortunately, the best book to learn about him would be like the Vampire Count's army books. So like the 6th, 7th, or 8th edition Vampire Count army books, which you can find online if you know where to look. Just Google it, you'll find it. You can also learn about Heinrich Himmler from Gotrek and Felix Zombie Slayer, which features him very heavily.
Hey,
great book.
Do you think that colossal hint means we're getting the
But
colossal
I would not
squid?
recommend going straight into Zombie Slayer. I would recommend reading the entirety of the Gotrek and Felix series until you naturally get to Zombie Slayer. Otherwise, you're going to read Zombie Slayer and you're not going to understand what's going on. But you can also read, I think he might show up in some mentions in the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 2nd Edition supplement called Night's Dark Masters. How strong are Cathay dragons versus non-transforming dragons? Cathay dragons are pretty fucking strong. Like, they're S-tier dragons. They're up there. Think Master Necromancers would work with Mortis Engine spell? No, because the Mortis Engine lore very explicitly says that the people controlling them, I think they're called like Crypt Masters or something, cannot be actual wizards. Like they cannot be necromancers, because the process of what they're doing, if they were an actual like necromancer, it would be really, really bad. It's a really specific type of person that has to be like controlling it, and they cannot be a wizard. It's like really, really explicit about that. For probably that reason. Dynamite, hey Sotek, do you think Colossal Hint thinks we're getting the Colossal Squig? Yes, I think 100% confirmed we're getting the Colossal Squig. Do I think we'll get Egrim von Horseman as a FLC? Yeah, I actually think during the videos Creative Assembly put out today, there's a part where they talk about that they want to add new content to the game between patches. And they also talked about that one of the big reworks they want to do soon is a cult rework for all of the monogod factions. I genuinely, I'm not fucking with y'all, I'm being genuine. I honestly think that they're kind of hinting that they might do Egrim von Horseman as a free LC Legendary Lord bonus when they do the cult mechanic rework. Because that would be the perfect time to add him. Because, like, cults are his fucking thing. Like, Egrim von Horseman is the biggest cult master in Warhammer Fantasy. Like, he is the big bad of the Tzeentch cult system. Why can't other dragons transform? The Cathay ones can? Because the Cathay ones are not technically full dragon. Well, I guess they kind of are, but their mother is a shapeshifter. Also, they're a very different species of dragon, but they're technically half shapeshifter because their mom isn't actually a dragon. She's a shapeshifter that took the form of a dragon. Von Horseman is a Tzeentch light wizard, right? Well, he was a light wizard who fell to Tzeentch at some point in his life. Depending on which source you read, it says when he fell at different times. But he is a Tzeentch wizard who specialized in light magic. He was Patriarch of the Light College. I'll put it that way. His betrayal of the colleges of magic fucked up the colleges big time. It was ugly. So he would probably be super sexy because he would probably have a mixed lore of Tzeentch magic and light magic, which would be really fun. Yeah, Dr. Bloody, I agree. The goal should be that every single monogod faction gets one greater demon legendary lord, one lesser demon legendary lord, and one mortal legendary lord. That's the goal. That's 100% the goal. That's the game plan, in my opinion. So for Tzeentch, you get Egrim von Horseman as your mortal character, then you get the Changeling as a lesser demon, and Kairos Fateweaver as a greater demon. For Khorne, you get Scarbrand as your greater demon, Skulltaker as your lesser demon, and then Arbal the Undefeated as your mortal, hopefully. And then for Nurgle, you get Tarmakon as your mortal, and then Kugoth as your greater demon, Epidemius as your lesser demon. And then for Slaanesh, you get Nakari for your greater demon, Dakala as your mortal, and then the Mask as your lesser demon. Hopefully. Do I play 40k or fantasy tabletop? Fantasy. I do fantasy and Age of Sigmar. 40k, I am not a 40k fan. There are elements of 40k I enjoy, but I really dislike the Imperium and everything it stands for. I'm a Tyranid fan. I'll put it that way. I like the Tyranids. I think the Tyranids are cool. I think Games Workshop grossly underutilizes them to the point that I cannot be bothered to really keep up with a lot of stuff because Games Workshop 40k is such a fumble in my opinion because the Xenos don't get any love and it's just sad. But I do like the Tyranids. I think the Tyranids are pretty sick. I love their design. I'll put it this way. I'm looking forward to Space Marine 2, even though I fucking despise Space Marines, because all of those juicy fucking Tyranids, and it looks like the game's gonna be really fun. Do I have a favorite lore of Magic? That will change depending on the day that you ask. For today, I shall say the Lore of Heavens. I have many fond memories of the Lore of Heavens. Why is my brother calling me? Hold on. Hello? Hey, what's up? Sorry, just had to... My brother was being polite and inviting me to a thing that he knew I was not going to say yes to. But he was being polite. Hey, Age of Sigmar is great. It has its, it has a couple things about it, but I enjoyed it a lot. It's got a lot of really strong things going for it. Fantasy is my baby. I love fantasy more than anything. But I think Age of Sigmar has a lot of really cool shit. First edition was garbage. First edition was so bad. It was not even funny. But second edition forward has been pretty good. Thoughts on the Skaven box? It looks pretty good. I'm not gonna get it because I have no interest in collecting those minis, but I do want to get the new rule book. I'm really nervous about 4th edition. It's a pretty big change. Is Age of Sigmar after Fantasy? Yes. Age of Sigmar, the easiest way I can say it is that, like, the fantasy world gets blown up, and Age of Sigmar takes place like a couple of million/billion years later. But a shocking amount of characters from fantasy return in Age of Sigmar. But any of the characters that return, most of them have evolved in various ways. So, like, some of them are gods or demigods. Some of them are like more mutated or have changed in various ways. Some of them, a handful of them are the exact same just because they just wanted to reuse the models. But it's a really fun setting. It's a very, very fun setting. I love Age of Sigmar. I think it's great. It's not the same as fantasy. They're different, but they're both very, very good in their own ways. And if you don't like it, that's fine. You don't have to like it. It's subjective. But Age of Sigmar, I think it's very, very fucking good. I enjoy the lore quite a bit. I have a lot of AOS books. I have more fantasy books. Like, I have 2 full shelves, about 3 shelves worth of fantasy books. And I've got 1 shelf full of Age of Sigmar books. Ish. Is there any Age of Sigmar YouTubers you'd recommend? 2+ Tough is pretty good. I don't watch... The thing is, I don't watch a lot of AOS YouTube stuff. Because I just read it. I read it myself. So I don't know if I have the best recommendations, but I know 2+ Tough does stuff for it. I don't know if he still does. He did for a while. Is Age of... No. I describe Age of Sigmar as space opera. Age of Sigmar is extremely grandiose. You are dealing with insanely massive battles, insanely massive... Like, you have literal gods walking the battlefields and doing stuff. Like, not avatars, like the actual fucking gods. It is a very grandiose, very over-the-top setting. A lot of, not always, like, a lot of the stories are very down to earth, but Age of Sigmar is, like, generally speaking, is like very high fantasy. Like, you deal with some crazy shit in Age of Sigmar. Like, I'll put it this way. Age of Sigmar makes 40k and fantasy look like a fucking joke when you're dealing with power levels. Like, Age of Sigmar is fucking bonkers level of power level. Like, shit is crazy in Age of Sigmar. But every once in a while, but it depends on, like, what you're reading. Like, some of the characters are obviously very grounded because they're just like normal people. And some of the books and some of the narratives focus on very human size shenanigans. So, like, there are a number of grimdark stories that take place. There are a number of, like, really, really personal stories. But when you're following, like, the overall narrative, it is like super fucking massive shit. It depends on, like, what you're reading. Like, are you following like the gigantic storyline that covers like centuries, or are you covering like the Black Library books and stuff that are like more individual narratives on like a town or like an individual place, in which case, like, you're gonna have a much more grounded story. It just depends on what you're reading. Would it still be possible to have a Cathay versus Ogre DLC? Probably not. Because I don't think the Ogres could really get away with a whole nother DLC. I just don't know what they would put in it. I said 2+ Tough with Doug. Yep. Doug's a very nice guy. Very sweet. He's a sweet bean. Yeah, I have heard mention of the Adeptus Ridiculous podcast. I have heard those mentions. Would I ever consider a guest if asked? Yo, yeah, I love going on podcasts. Like, if anyone ever invites me to a podcast, like, unless there's something really fucking shady about their podcast, I would 10 out of 10 times will say yes. Anytime I get to talk about fantasy with people, I'm in. I'm all in. Age of Sigmar sounds like a Souls game on steroids. Kinda, yeah. Any good Flesh Eater Court books? Ghoul Slayer from the Gotrek series is really good. It's good. It's depressing. Which is what it should be for Flesh Eater Courts. They also got featured in. God, I'm pretty sure they got a book recently, and I'm struggling to remember what it is. I mean, they got featured really, really heavily in the ongoing storyline that's wrapping up right now, which was the Dawnbringer Crusades. The Dawnbringer Crusades very heavily focus on the Flesh Eater Courts. What are even humans in Age of Sigmar? They're regular people. There are regular basic bitch humans in Age of Sigmar, which I love. Because they are so outclassed by everything around them that it's just sad. But, you know, they make up for it in fun ways. Mr. Big, heads up, they're just starting a fantasy series. It's like once a month since they're learning as to go. Yeah, I'd love to be on it. But, when it comes to that kind of stuff, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of tacky or, like, inappropriate to, like, reach out to a podcast and be like, hey, can you have me on your podcast? I think the appropriate thing to do is to wait to be invited. So if y'all are fans and you want to recommend to them that, hey, you should have this Lore Master of Sotek guy on, and they reach out to me, and I'd go, yes, absolutely, I'd love to be on. But, you know, I'm not going to approach them because I think that would be weird. How am I today? I'm okay. I'm good. The Creative Assembly news was extremely exciting, so I'm still kind of riding that high. Are they orcs or orcs in Age of Sigmar? Neither. In Age of Sigmar, they are Oruks. So O-R-R-U-K-S. Because Games Workshop, when Games Workshop was making Age of Sigmar, they were super obsessed with trying to make everything in the setting copyrightable. Like, make it where everything had a unique name. Obviously, they gave up on that because when they went back to the old world, they just used the old names. So, like, the whole point was stupid. But in Age of Sigmar, all of the things have, like, unique names. So, like, orcs are called Oruks, goblins are called Grots, ogres are called ogres, but it's spelled different. It's O-G-O-R-S instead of O-G-R-E-S. Silly stuff like that. Can I explain the difference between Brettonian Knights and Chapter House Knights? Yes, Brettonian Knights are Brettonian, and Chapter House Knights are not.
What do you
I realize that sounded facetious, but that's genuinely the truth. Brettonian Knights are knights that are born and raised in Brettonia. They worship the Lady of the Lake. They follow the laws of chivalry and the chivalric code. They emulate the chivalric companions of Gilles Le Breton, and whereas Chapter House Knights are usually noble-born, not always, but noble-born people from like the Empire or Talea or wherever, who join up with a knightly order either for prestige or because it's a cult or because it's like a most knightly orders are non-denominational, so they don't like, or they're not dedicated to a particular god. So many of them are joined because they're kind of like a club. Some join because there's like a lot of prestige to be found. Some join because like it's like their father joined and their father's father joined, and etc. Some join because it's seen as a way to like advance your rank in life. There's like a whole bunch of reasons people join, but it's usually made of nobles. Not always. There are a handful of knightly orders that accept non-noble-born individuals, but for the most part, it's a bunch of rich fucks who like to play hero. And a fair amount of them are dicks. They often will get bored and will like go right off to fight some evil that they're like, oh, this will be cool. They tend to be a bit goofy. Didn't they do Age of Sigmar right after they lost a lawsuit about secondhand parts for Warhammer IP because of the name, hence why they would have ham-fisted with new hands? Bowser, yeah, you could argue that. I don't know if that's true. I don't know, but you'd have to go look. I'd have to go look, and I can't be bothered. What would be your pipe dream video game about fantasy, excluding the current ones we have now? My true pipe dream would be for, like, Larian Studios to make, like, Andy Law's version of the Enemy Within, like the full Enemy Within campaign, all 5 parts, which would be it would be like Baldur's Gate 3, essentially, but in Warhammer Fantasy, with like crazy amounts of customization, and you just get to play through that storyline, which would be super fucking fun. My second pipe dream game would be a God of War style, like the new God of Wars, so like God of War Ragnarok and the one before that, style kick-ass action drama game focused on Gotrek and Felix. Those would be those. If I got either of those games, I don't know what I would do. I would do something extreme, but I don't know what. So for Donna Man, thank you for the bits. So for the ogres units, I could think of Pigback Riders, Blood Vultures, Thundershots, and Yetis. What could the 5th unit be? I don't know about Pigback Riders are possible. I don't know if they're actually going to do them because they're one of those units that they'd be funny, but I don't know what their role would actually be. But there's so many Noblar units, dude. Like, you could do Man-Biters to me seem like they're going to happen. Which Man-Biter Noblars are Noblars that emulate Man-Eaters. So they're kind of swole, and they get like the best armor and the best weapons of Noblars, and they're actually surprisingly nasty in combat because like they're like buff Noblars. So you got Man-Biters, which I think we're gonna get those because they work really well with Goldfag Man-Eater being the DLC Lord. Now I just see Gotrek calling the exploit. No, he's a man. Manling? What are you doing there, Manling? The battle is this way. Yeah, Manling. Always with Manling. But things they could do for the Ogre Kingdoms that might not be super obvious. To put it in perspective, how many Noblar variants there are from the White Dwarf article, there are Lucky Gits, which are Lucky Noblars. There are Blood Noblars, which are Noblars that specifically assist Slaughtermasters and Butchers with their craft, so to speak. There are Man-Biters, which are the elite Noblars. There are Pigback Riders, which is a Noblar riding another Noblar, like some kind of goofy-ass 2 guys in a trench coat scheme to make it like a pseudo-cavalry unit. There are... hold on. You have Noblar Fighters, Noblar Flingers, Noblar... you have Boglars, which we have already. So yeah, that's the big thing. Is Noblar Fighters, Noblar Flingers, Noblar Man-Biters, Noblar Pigback Riders, Noblar Lucky Gits, and Blood Noblars. And then you also have the Noblar Head Honcho, which is a Lord Noblar that rides on a Rhinox with like a bunch of other Noblars around him. And then you have the Noblar Honcho, which is the hero level version. So to have a Noblar character, they have to come on the Rhinox. Like they don't even have a what do you call it? They don't even have a infantry variant. They have to come on the Rhinox, which is super funny. And then, in addition to that, you have all the Man-Eater variants. There's the Ninja Man-Eater. There's the Rolling Pin dressed up like a woman Man-Eater. There's the There's the Cathayan Man-Eaters, the Lustrian Man-Eater, the Imperial Man-Eater, the Dwarf Man-Eater. I think that's all of them. There's a lot of Man-Eaters types. Noblar Artillery, that's what a scrap launcher is, dude. We already have that. Greyback Yetis as Regiments of Renown. That'd probably be a Regiment of Renown. Yeah, that'd probably be ROR. Do you think we'll get more races in Warhammer 3? Yes. Yep. I think Dogs of War are guaranteed. I think Dogs of War are full-on guaranteed. I do believe that there are plans to do End in Koresh. I don't know when that will happen or if it will happen, but I believe there is genuine plans to do them. Are some ogres stronger than giants in lore? Yes, there is an ogre, what do you call it? There's an ogre big name. Is it big name? I think it's big name. There's an ogre title called Giant Breaker. And the way an ogre tyrant earns that title is by literally 1v1ing a giant. Do ogres have ladies? Yep. Yep. Ogre ladies, yep. There's a bunch of artwork. Well, not a bunch, but there's like a decent amount of artwork of them. Funny enough, an ogre woman and an ogre man are not super crazy different looking. They're not crazy different looking. They are different looking, but there's not an extreme amount of sexual dimorphism. Can you see for research purposes? Yeah, I can pull one up. Here, I've got, let's see, documents. If I go in here and I go to this and I go to this book, where is it? Tribes and Tribulations. Where is she? Where's the sexy lady? It's hobgoblins. There we go. So here, I'll show you two. So you got this lady. So this is Yerg Beastkiller. So this is a lady ogre. So you can see she's kind of got that she's kind of got like that like kind of reminds me of like a super overweight, like, you know those moms that like put their daughters into like pageantry contests and it's just like super like abusive and you can tell the mom's just trying to live vicariously through her daughter and it's like really unhealthy? That's what this kind of reminds me of. So you have her, and then another design you have is Skell Longstrider. So this is the last one. So this is a hunter. This is a lady hunter. Oh, hey Akoi, what's up? And then this is a lady Iron Gut. So you can see, like, you can kind of tell, but they're very similar. The male and female ogres are pretty similar looking. Looks like they just don't have as much facial hair. That is, yeah, that's accurate. That seems to pretty much be the only difference. Yes, they also did lady ogres for the most recent Blood Bowl team for ogres. There are male and female ogres, and literally the only difference is that the lady ones, yeah, they don't have facial hair. They tend to have like a longer hair, like a braid, and then they'll have like bras. Akoi heard about ogre women and got excited. That's funny. Shame on you. Is there a Mongolian faction in fantasy? It used to be the ogres, but as the ogres got developed, they shifted really hard away from that. They pivoted really hard away from the Mongolian theme. You could argue the closest thing now would be the Hobgoblin Khanate. That being said, it has less to my understanding, which take this with a hefty amount of salt. The Hobgoblin Khanate is less a emulation of Mongolian culture and is more an emulation of the hordes of Attila the Hun, which how much you consider those to overlap, I will leave in your camp. But they are very heavily inspired by like the history and mythology surrounding the legions of Attila. Is what the Hobgoblin Khanate is extremely heavily inspired by. What are half-orcs in fantasy? I have no fucking idea what they're supposed to be now. If you go way back in the day, they're exactly what they sound like. They're half-orc, half like something else, like human. They are no longer that. The term was brought up, but if I had to guess what a half-orc is now, I would say a half-orc is probably a relatively small orc. Like, it's bigger than a hobgoblin, but not as big as a full orc. Does the legendary lord have a sword made from a meteor? What? Who are we talking about? CD4N, thank you for the super chat, my dude. What do you think about the confirmation that Khorne's haberdasher and ophthalmologist criminal the Slaanesh? CD4N, dude, I have not slept in many hours. Please spare me. Are rumors about new races coming to the old world might be true? If what I've heard is true, which I believe it is, yes. I feel really confident about that Games Workshop is planning to go heavy in the old world and expand into a lot of the new factions, new races. Oh, Okoy, that's very sweet. Thank you. I appreciate that. We need to do another group stream sometime soon. I also need to start playing more multiplayer. Multiplayer actually looks like it's kind of fun now. I've been watching Turin streams and it's getting me all like, oh, I kind of want to do this. Are Stonehorns the same as the new ogre monster? No, that they're similar. So the Stonehorn and the Thunder Tusk came in the same kit. So like when you would buy, here, I'll show you. If you go to Games Workshop's website, all right, here, let me show you. If you go to GW's website and you're like, oh, I want to buy an ogre thing, you go to Ogre Mod Tribes, and you're like, I want to buy a Thunder Tusk, or I want to buy a Stonehorn, and you click on it, and you scroll down, you'll notice that here it says, this plastic kit contains all the components necessary to build the Stonehorn Beast Riders. This kit can optionally be used to assemble a Frostlord Huskguard on Thunder Tusk or Stonehorn. So this kit, this plastic kit, could be used to build either monster. So they share the same like skeleton would be the basic way I put it. So you get your plastic sprue, and you could build it either as a Thunder Tusk or as a Stonehorn. So in that sense, when you're looking at like Total War Warhammer, they have like similar body shapes, but are slightly different. Where the Thunder Tusk has like the big mammoth-like horns, like the big horns that come out the bottom, the elephant tusks, whereas the Stonehorn has the big horns coming out of the side. That's like the main big difference. And then like Thunder Tusks don't really have a tail. They've got like little butts, but the Stonehorns have like these giant fucking whip tails. So they have similar body designs. Dude, Okoy, how spoiled are you that you got to see like fucking like in-game footage of some stuff? I will say I fucking love that they did that. Like I prefer what they did today so much over like just a basic roadmap where they're like, I really wish they would show us more like in development footage because it's just exciting.
Islamic empires like the Mughals who made the Taj Mahal and Red Fort, or more to pre-Islamic / South Indian cultures?
I didn't hear any of that. What? which elements of Indian culture do you think would make up Ind? Do you think they'll lean more into the Islamic empires like the Mughals who made the Taj Mahal and the Red Fort, or more of the pre-Islamic South Indian culture? I'm not a history person or a very knowledgeable on cultures other than my own, and even my own I'm pretty stupid. So I don't fucking know. I imagine that because of the whole like land of 1,000 gods concept and what we know about like the Tigermen and stuff, I imagine they're going to lean very, very heavily into, I would say it's probably going to lean much more heavily into like the mythos and mythology that spawns out of a lot of aspects of Hinduism. And then is also going to mix that with various aspects of Indian culture and especially their form of warfare dating over like thousands of years. So I would assume that would mean pre-Islamic, but I have no idea. So take that and do what you can with it. Yeah, the Thunder Tusks are super fucking exciting. Plus, Thunder Tusks, I'm curious how they're gonna adapt their Ice Breath attack, because in tabletop, they could literally, like, Thunder Tusks have the ability to, like, breathe or, like, spit out these, like, balls of ice that they could, like, throw or, like, spit at people, and it fired like a catapult. Like, it was like a boom, like, way the fuck across the battlefield and would slam into people. So I'm really curious if they're gonna give them a shooting attack, which would be really funny. Hutchins, the true once and future Git returns. Warbass Ironclaw will finish what he started in that stupid Umi place when he took that Umi runs and added shiny cap choppa. The biggest wah is coming, lads. Yeah, I'm really excited for Gorbad. I am super fucking excited for Gorbad. It had to be Gorbad. It had to be. I know a lot of people were hoping for Forest Goblins. I still think we could get a Forest Goblin DLC in the future. But it was time for the orc. The time of the orc has come. The age of man is over. Fishmen win unfortunately in our dreams, I think. I really want Fishmen, but Fishmen should be like the absolute last fucking thing we ever get. Why do you think they'll do a Forest Goblin DLC if they're scared of doing Araby? I don't think they're scared of doing Araby. I think Araby is completely possible. I genuinely think Araby is completely possible. Also, when it comes to Forest Goblins, listen, guys, listen, okay? I've seen some people, like, get all blah, 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 blah about what Andy said about Forest Goblins, but you need to understand, right? Here, allow me to show you something. There is a very big difference, all right? See if I can find like a good piece of art here. All right, pay attention. There is a very big difference, okay, between this, right? This is a modern Forest Goblin. There are feathers, but there are like bird skulls and chitinous parts and animal tusks. Like, okay, cool. Forest Goblin, right? This is a modern Forest Goblin. There is a really fucking big difference between this and this. Like, do you understand that there is a huge difference between that kind of Forest Goblin and this kind of Forest Goblin? This is the OG Forest Goblin. This is the problematic version that Andy was talking about. It's really bad. Like, it is a yikes. It's a big fucking yikes. Like, I know some people come in, they're like, well, I don't understand why you said the Forest Goblin. It's like, you don't understand. We're not talking about, this is fine. This is fine. This is a Forest Goblin that looks like it took an Empire guy's hat. That's totally fine. This is literally just a Native American. Like, they're not even trying. Like, it is so over the top. This is not good. Also, the spider is terrible. What kind of fucking lame-ass spider has, like, a human skull face with 2 eyes? That's not even a spider. Terrible. Terrible. Like, personally, I am fully down and very interested in Games Workshop making a very strongly Native American themed and inspired, using their mythology and mythos, faction that, like, lives in southern Nagaroth, but not goblins. Please, not goblins. Anywho, all right. Anywho, I think I need to go take a nap. Because I bought Paper Mario and the Thousand-Year Door like a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, and like I've been playing the fuck out of it, trying to get through it really, really fast. And I finally finished it last night, or this morning, I guess, but I didn't sleep because I was like, I just want to get to the end. And oh my god, the end took like way longer than I thought it would. But so I'm gonna go take a nap because I have to be awake for my stream with Andy. So for anyone that doesn't know, just so everyone's on the same page, Andy and I are doing the last brother for Tamarkan. So we've been doing a what if Tamarkan's brothers had been fully developed, and like what would they be like? Like what would they look like? Well, actually, I want to show y'all something. So hopefully you'll show up to tonight's stream. So we've done the Khorne brother, and we've done the Slaanesh brother, okay? And I just want to show y'all some fan art that's come in from a couple folks, like, of people making art based on what we've said. Because you need to appreciate how fucking, like, cool the shit we've been coming up with is. And it's like very community involved. Like if you show up to the stream, we're like actively reading people's chats, and it's a whole involved process, and it's super fun. So like, I'll pull up my 2 like favorite ones. I'll pull up one for the Slaanesh brother, and then I'll pull up one for the was the Khorne brother on, did I not make a thread for the Khorne brother? I thought I did, but I guess I didn't. Oh, my brain is like short-circuiting. I can feel it. Slaanesh, Tzeentch, Khorne. Hold on, I gotta like scroll to the bottom. Oh wait, I want to like post Rodrigo's version. That's what I want to do. Someone make a fucking mini? Oh my god. Someone made a fucking mini. God damn, dude, some of these people are like so fucking talented. Like, what the fuck? Okay, here we go. I'll do this one. Well, I want to do Rodrigo's though. Hold on. I promise it'll be worth it. Just bear with me. Okay, here we go. Okay, so for the Slaanesh brother, and we'll do that one last. So for the Khorne brother, check this shit out. So here's some fan art that came in. We're doing a stream, so not this Wednesday, so not today, but next Wednesday, after the Tzeentch brother, we're gonna do like a stream where we just show off like everybody's art and everything, and I will make sure to properly credit everyone, because I can't remember who made this off the top of my head. But so like here's someone's artwork rendering of the Khorne brother, which is super fucking sick. And then here is Rodrigo's version, where he has the mount depicted, which is like a horribly deformed and mutilated whale that's been like grafted into a like insect-like metal thing, and it's like vomiting blood on people and stuff. Super great, sick, awesome. And then look at this art for the Slaanesh brother. Look at this shit. It's like fucking stained glass. Like, oh my god. Sick. Anywho, so make sure you show up tonight for tonight's stream, which starts in about 5 hours from now. It will be on Andy's channel? Or is it on my channel? Fuck. I don't... I have no idea. Hold on, let me look. This channel's on. It's on my channel. Sorry, it's on my channel. Fuck me. I'm so tired.
All the skinks.
So yeah, please show up for that. We would like to have lots of people in the chat to hang out with us. We would really appreciate it. So I hope you all had fun. I hope this was enjoyable. I feel bad for anyone that I need to like make timestamps for, because the vast majority of this stream was just us rambling about stupid shit. But I hope you all have a lovely day. If you aren't going to join us for tonight's show, I hope you have a wonderful day. I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow. I need to get back to playing Final Fantasy soon. But anyway, please take care. I appreciate your faces. If you're on Twitch, I will do the thing I'm supposed to do. And I guess I'll send you on a raid somewhere. I don't fucking know. Do I even... you know what? I'm tired. I can't. My brain. I'm just gonna leave. I'm just gonna leave. I don't know. Go. Whatever. Get out of here. I'm out of here. Okay, bye.